Probably a good idea.
All right, we're going live. I think we're live. We should be up now.
Yeah, fuck
Fuck yeah.
it, man. Do it.
Fuck yeah. Uh, Here's a weird fucking thing. So, uh, California obviously is retarded over COVID, but they have like their own website where you go and coordinate going and getting like a free test wherever your city is. And so you're gonna like put in a password and like username and all that, and just like
Right.
every couple of weeks, it just fucking deletes your password. So you literally have to just enter an entirely new password like every 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
Like for no fucking reason. And it doesn't like give you a warning. There's no
Well, that's
like
fucking
email like,
retarded.
hey, you need to change your password now so that you don't have it just deleted. So you literally just every so often you just have to go through the whole process of like where you gotta like be like, here's my name, here's my email, here's this thing that I gave you for like a question answer. All right, I'll go click my email and reset my password again.
Mm,
It's fucking constant. It also requires a 15
That's
character
fucking
long
obnoxious.
password. So it has to be at least 15 characters long.
Jeez,
And
dude.
it has to include capital and lowercase letters as well as a number and like, a punctuation mark. Or a special character, like an ampersand or a pound sign or something. It's
Yeah.
fucking insane. It like makes no sense how many hoops you have to go through just to like
Right, right.
get in there. It's like, all right, that's bad.
Jeez, dude.
Oh, I didn't make sure we were all right.
Audible.
That's bad.
Jeez, dude.
Oh, I didn't make sure we were all right.
Audible.
That's bad.
Jeez, dude.
Oh, I didn't make sure we were. I think we're just echoing over and over. That's kind of strange.
Serious?
That's kind of strange. Oh, for a minute it was
Yeah, a
literally
little
just going
bit.
over and over with like
Serious?
oh, I'm so fucking dumb. Never mind. We're fine. I just realized that when I unmute it to listen for like half a second, it starts broadcasting the sound from there immediately because that's now playing and because it just whatever my desktop sounds are goes through, so that
Yeah,
your
it's
voice
picking
and
it up.
whoever else is on there goes through. So it literally just like it was just playing the desktop audio and then picking it up again and playing it again over and over. So I was the reason it looped for as long as it did, for like the couple of seconds.
Nice.
Because I'm just that fucking smart. Man, is this
All
OnlyFans
right.
saga not fucking hilarious?
Dude, it really is fucking great, dude. The thoughts of freaking out, dude.
Well, and OnlyFans is just so dumb because like at this point, like I mean, you can't put the fucking cat back in the bag. Like you're already associated as a porn site. Like no one's ever gonna see you as anything other than porn at this point. So it kind of is like shooting themselves in the foot, even though I'm sure like there's they'll find some
Yeah,
other business
yeah.
model that'll keep them from going out of business. But I don't think they're ever going to be able to like be like a legit site that doesn't what do you call it make most of their money off of porn. Like even if they cancel all the porn thing, I think they'll just lose a lot of money and people will just go elsewhere. Because I can't see like a legit creator being like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I
from what
get
I've
it now that you're
heard,
family
like,
friendly. I'll bring the 12-year-olds."
I guess, yeah, it's a little late for that kind of shit. Yeah. Right, but from what I understand, it's like they're still allowing nudity, but you can't do shit like spread your pussy lips or show penetration or any of that kind of
or like the one chick who won't do nudity but will like blow her boyfriend on camera.
So it is kind of pointless.
Yeah, like she's just give her boyfriend a blowjob on camera, but she won't show her tits. It's like fucking whatever. Oh, people pay for that shit.
It's just a really, whacked out sense of morality. Yeah, I'll blow my fucking boyfriend. I will not show myself nude, man.
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's limits. Fucking
what?
What limits?
Not a whore.
Oh, well, and you know, and the other thing I think that a lot of these girls don't get is there is a very real time limit on the profitability of selling pussy. Oh, you kind of went robot on me for a second there. But yeah, you're kind of going in and out. It is crazy how many girls don't actually do nudity on OnlyFans and still have like tons of people paying them money. Oh no, did I lose them all together? Because I don't hear anything now. Uh-oh. Well, anyway, as I was saying to nobody in particular, apparently, there's a real fucking like time limit on these OnlyFans being profitable. Like it's only gonna sell till they're like, you know, maybe in their 30s if they're really lucky. So I don't know, like, and then they're gonna have like their picture and their name, probably their real name at that point. All that kind of stuff is going to be spread all over the internet. So like, it's going to be so hard to find like a real job after that. Like, what's going to happen to these chicks? I guess maybe they'll have to. Oh, did you come back, sir?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, it's not a great connection. I think it's just bad internet.
Is it working or no?
It's working. It's working. I can hear you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I am getting a shitty signal.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see. Hopefully that'll pop back up at some point. But yeah, it's all the way down in the red.
Oh, fun. Okay. Yeah, I think you talked
like
that when I was just pointing out that OnlyFans is going to have a very limited lifespan for like a career. Oh, and then that's when he jiggles back out again. Oh, irony.
Yeah. Holy fuck.
Oh, now you're back. Of course.
Showing a better signal now. It should come through.
Yeah, you're going in and out. Like there's no way to. I'm getting most of what you're saying, but it's definitely like roboting like a mofo. Sweet fucking irony. We had a great one last time.
I don't know if you're hearing me, but
I just started hearing you. Oh, no, I don't know if you're hearing me.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I can hear you fine, dude.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, no, I'm alone. Okay. Yay, this is my stream. Nobody can join me. Oh, actually, a lot of people can join me. I don't really know how that works, but... Yay. Oh, he's going to switch to his phone. Okay, we'll see how that works out. It'll be weird. Who knows, man? You know, the fucking ways of the internet sometimes.
Wow.
Man, the ways of the internet, huh?
Yeah. Is it working okay now, or?
Yeah, you're a lot clearer now. I'm getting all the words.
Yeah, I switched over to my phone and came outside, which is oddly enough a lot closer to the fucking router.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Like if it's just on the other side of a wall or something.
Yeah, because it's in the front room. So if I'm out, I'm really only about 10, 15 feet away from it if I'm outside smoking.
Oh shit! I just thought of something, dude. So
Yeah.
okay, we were talking about OnlyFans, and I always find it bizarre that people feel like they have like real connections with these thoughts. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
their career span is going to be very small. Like at a certain point, they're just not going to be viable on OnlyFans, and then they're going to have this whole porn history that's all over the internet that can like fuck up potentially getting like new jobs and stuff like that.
Oh
So
yeah, dude.
all the Sims
Yeah,
have
it's
to
already
do,
happened to
yeah,
people that
yeah.
have kind of flamed out.
I'm sure there's some people that
Go
have
ahead.
flamed
Go
out
ahead.
already.
Sorry.
I was just saying, all the Sims have to do is wait long enough and be the biggest bidder, and maybe they can actually get themselves an e-girl when she's looking for a sugar daddy to marry, so that she's not fucking like destitute on the street, because she's probably spent all her porn money. Very few of them ever save it for anything. I've rarely seen anything like where like porn chicks have saved money, or like like it's just not in that mindset apparently.
Yeah, no,
What's up, Rotten Silence?
they're similar to athletes. They're similar to athletes in that regard.
Yeah,
Where they're
they
like, no,
seem to
I'm just
think
going to
it's
keep
just
making this
never
money
going to
forever,
stop.
right?
Yeah, like it's never ever going to
Yeah.
stop. But you really do have a very short span that you can do what you're doing, especially at that high level of income. That's a big part of it too. Like I'm sure they'll be able to like keep
Yeah.
making a couple of $100 on OnlyFans a month at a certain point, but they won't be bringing in like the thousands and the enough to pay their rent. And there's already a bunch of chicks on there who are only making like half minimum wage anyway, because they're just not hot, but they think they're going to get OnlyFans anyway. Like I don't understand your process of thought there, lady.
Yeah,
But sorry. There's a minimum bar of attractiveness to the ride, and all your SJW whining and fat phobia bullshit is just not gonna fucking cut it.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a fucking rude awakening in store for themselves when they're like, oh shit, I really wasn't that hot to begin with.
Well, there's a lot of chicks that are getting that rude awakening now. They're just like realizing that like nobody wants to date them because one, they're aiming way higher than they could possibly get, and two, they're just fucking cunts. Like so, nobody's like people are like, oh, not only are you not attractive, but you're fucking repellent in your personality is just repellent, Oh, so sad.
Yeah, there's some fucking right.
Well, I don't know.
Most of them are just awful people.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the ones we see the most of. I'm sure the vast majority are sort of somewhere in the middle, like not, but the ones that stick out that we all get to hear about are just the fucking ones that are like so over the top.
Mm.
Oh, like what's that Gabby Hanna chick who's like, she's not even hot. She did do an OnlyFans, but then she didn't do nudity. She just did like clothes stuff for like super expensive prices. And
yeah.
So you were talking about like some lady that she tried to force to be her friend. There was apparently 2 different chicks she did that to.
Yeah, dude,
like,
it was
Jesus.
so fucking, and like publicly, she's like, no, we're friends, and I can prove it with these messages. Like, dude, just because you message somebody occasionally on fucking, through DMs or whatever, doesn't make him your fucking friend, dude.
I play VR chat pretty regularly. It's got a lot of fun little stupid games that are just like perfect for, you got like an hour or two before you want to hit the sack, but you just want to like fuck around.
Right.
So they're super casual, and I've made a bunch of people a bunch of people have added me onto their friends list in those games. But they're not my friends. Like we don't hang out and have like deep, in-depth discussions of any kind. They just join me when I'm in a certain game that they like to play.
Yeah.
Like, That's the level of friend that it seems like Gabby
buddy.
Hanna thinks is a real friend. Like, nah, dude.
She friended me on Facebook, so yeah, we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
I
fucking bizarre. Like, dude, bitch, it's not up to you. If the other person says you're not actually friends, you're not actually friends. It's a two-way thing. Both of you have to agree on this.
Yeah, I think most people would agree that if you say I'm not your friend, that you're not their friend. Yeah, if you actually say that, that's fucked up.
Yeah. You want to claim her as an acquaintance?
Here's one that
maybe
gets me.
Would be better.
This is like, I guess, a younger person, sort of older person fucking difference in approaching the friendship thing. But I've had people just walk up and be like, "Hey, would you be my friend?" Like
in real life,
VR chat.
Oh, okay, all right. It's still a little weird.
It's still a little fucking weird, right? But I think it's a younger, older gap thing. Like, it just seems totally acceptable to the younger crowd.
Yeah, I can't imagine actually walking up to somebody and saying that.
Yeah, and I've also had girls make DILF comments, which seems like, well, because I have the decent sounding voice, so apparently that's like, I'm always like, you would be so much more disappointed than you could ever imagine if you think that. Like, you have no fucking clue. This lady, I'm hideous. You got find some other dude. but the voice draws people in. I swear it's ridiculous sometimes. I also get that from young dudes.
Yeah.
It's just like
that's fucking great, dude.
Oh, and like, of all the places, like, I'm not a big fan of like the concept of internet romance in the first place, but of all the places I'm sure as shit not gonna try to fucking find somebody to date, it's definitely not gonna be the game filled with like 12-year-olds that pretend to be other things. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I have no interest in dating a small child, whether I know it's one or not. Fucking leave me out of that. Stay the fuck away.
Yeah, just a bad fucking just asking for trouble.
Well, if you don't end up in jail, it would just be fucking obnoxious. Can you genuinely imagine how fucking annoying that would be? Like, give me some lady that's in her 30s or 40s, you know, somewhere around my age, because I'm like right at 41. So, like, you know, in late 40s, early 30s, whatever is probably the farthest I'd go in either way. That's not going to be constantly freaking out about this, that, or the other thing, or is going to be perfectly fine with me not spending every fucking waking minute, like, paying attention to them. You know what I mean? Because, like, I'm sure you remember what it was like dating people when you were a teenager, or like just, you know, early 20s.
Yeah. I don't know that it gets much better though, dude. I mean, women need shitloads of attention no matter what age they're at, dude.
True, but I think people tend to calm down a little bit once they finally start hitting their 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not actively looking anyway, but I just, you know, that would be the age group that I would look at if I were.
I hear you.
I
think inside this will still work.
Sorry, what?
No, I was just thinking about whether I should stay out here.
Oh, or take the phone inside. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot here in a second.
Yeah. Oh, I posted a tour of the little, like, city thing that I built in Conan on the YouTube channel. Because I remembered I'd posted a thing where I started that tavern before, and it kind of just disappeared, so that server, like, went out, so I posted one on this server I'm on now, because, like, it's an official server, so it's going to be there for a while. Ah, Mr. Samaj, hello, sir.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. I don't think there'll be a weird fucking panic moment on this one, too, so we should be good.
No, the night's still young. We'll see what happens. I had a brief moment of my own, and I'm like, I have to stop this. I made the awful mistake of watching Alex Jones.
Dude, I think that guy might genuinely be schizophrenic. Like,
Well, again, like, okay, there's stuff that he says, and then he goes over the evidence, and then there's the guests he brings on. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, okay, sure, you can say that guy's crazy, but some of the people he brings on, it's like, oh, God, you're actual doctors, aren't you? Oh, fuck, you actually know what you're talking. So then I look them up, like, oh, shit, they know what they're talking about.
Right.
No, I want him to be wrong so bad.
Oh, yeah.
I want him to be like, I'm with you. I'm like, I want him to be wrong, but I look at it, I'm like, oh shit. And he'll do like videos on various different topics. So I'm like, oh okay, I'll get off that. I'll go searching this. It's all depressing. The two really scary things that he brought up is that he did this one thing where with a bunch of a collage of video from farmers. Apparently, they've been given the order from the government to destroy half their crops.
Fucking what?
Yeah, and a lot of these farmers, they post these videos on TikTok because that's the only place that they can post it. You post it on Twitter, it gets
weird.
Yeah, they say
they don't have any obligation to do that.
They are okay. So they have these papers and documents from the government. They were saying that they are ordered to destroy half their crops, and so then they would call up the local police and all that, say like, is this legitimate? Like, do I actually have to do this? No. And the police enforcement said, like, we've never seen anything like this, but it's all official. And there's even
you're not obligated. The government can't decide whether or not you destroy your crops. It's not up to the American government.
Well, they said that you can either
Canada you're talking about
America.
Okay.
So it was essentially they had two options. You can either destroy your own crops, or the government will have a crop duster plane go over your certain crops and destroy it for you.
Then they need to start filing lawsuits because that's not within the government's purview of authority.
Exactly. But the thing is that it takes time. Lawsuits take time. Sometimes they take years. And if you are someone like the government and you have
also getting it out in the public is a good thing.
It is getting it out in the public is a good thing. So, but again, like I had to go on to Rumble and look up the InfoWars stuff because you're never like I tried looking it up on Twitter. I tried looking it up on Facebook and YouTube, and there's nothing there. It's only on Rumble and it's on InfoWars, and it is on TikTok because apparently that's where the farmers can post things. So that's where a lot of the videos get taken. But yeah, apparently like you can fight it in court if you want. But it's going to take years, and the government's going to destroy it anyways. They're using this something orange to it's like a chemical that destroys crops. So the government
Agent Orange.
Thank you. That's Agent Orange.
From fucking like Vietnam.
Yeah. So they said they're going to do that. So a lot of the farmers are choosing to destroy it themselves.
Oh, they're trying to force them by taking away their subsidies. Mm-hmm. That's the part that I didn't understand.
The
government has no authority to like just destroy their crops, nor can they just go over and start crop dusting.
Right, and so they've been doing this, and so they're going to have all control of it. Now you can, if you want to, if you're a farmer and you want more information, they will send you an information package about how on everything, and they have all these satellite photos of your farm and where the main roads are, so that way you can't just run away. You have to actually, deal with your crops. So essentially they've been spying on them. They got all this information on them and their family members and shit like that. It is like mafia shit. It is frightening. And so the farmers are just choosing to do so. And they're trying to warn the public as much as possible because you will see a food shortage. And it's an artificial one brought on by the government. So
yeah, that's a trip.
So now that you know this, start stocking up on food as much as you can.
You don't necessarily have to stock up on food. Just start growing your food. Probably both would be better. But
I mean, growing food could take a while, and you can try it if you want. Find someone that sells seeds. If you can go to a farmer's market and get farmers to give you seeds, because they might be able to do that.
There's all sorts of places that you can buy heirloom seeds online, which is probably your best bet.
Probably. You could try that. If you can, I live in Canada, winter's coming. There's no growing anything. So when winter hits, that's it. So for me, I have no choice but to start stocking up on food.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it's a good idea to both, like, get some seeds, learn how to plant now.
Yeah, get what you can.
Yeah, don't wait, because the sooner you start, the better you're going to be at it when you really need it.
Well, and if there's going to be a food shortage of sorts going on, I mean, I don't know what kind of effect that's going to have. My biggest problem is I have no means to get out to get out of the city, and the cities are the ones that are going to have the most problems. Now, I don't know if it's the same thing here in Canada. I haven't heard anything, but in America, yeah, it's bad. Now, it could also be that things are weird here in Canada. We're currently in an election, and I've been enjoying every moment of it because let me tell you, Trudeau and the Liberal Party is not getting any love anywhere they go. Anywhere that they can go, there are people with cameras, and there are people just shouting "fuck Trudeau." I'm going to switch this to the election stuff because that's so much more entertaining and less depressing. But yeah, everywhere he goes, it's "fuck Trudeau, fuck Trudeau." And he tries to give a speech, and there's always people yelling. So the media is doing everything they can to make it seem like, oh yes, he's very well liked, but it's very hard to do. So a lot of stuff he does is very heavily edited, and there's so much footage of people protesting, like his bus, saying awful things, and the police are strong arming and arresting people. So it's not looking good for Trudeau. Yeah. So I'm hoping this will, like, the election is until like towards the end of September. So I'm hoping all this hatred towards Trudeau continues.
Oh, I'd be surprised if it goes away. Here's the thing, though. I kind of think that I've said it before, I'm sure, but I think this rigging the election for Biden was basically just a test run. And now that they've seen that people will just sit back and fucking put up with it, it's just, that's going to be the case for every election. Like it's because it's not just like one group, one politician that's doing it. It's a giant sort of like group of people that are all pushing for this communism on behalf of China.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not going to just. It's not like they're going to stop using a successful strategy once it's proven to work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although, good news, gun sales in America are again at an all-time high.
Yeah, no wonder. I wish I could say the same thing. There are a lot of people here in Canada who want to start getting guns, but the restrictions are so ridiculous that it's almost like what's the point? It's more dangerous to have a gun than it is to not have one. In other words, like for instance, there's so much restrictions. Like, and you're essentially on a watch list if you buy a gun in Canada. So, like, if there's a gun crime in my neighborhood, I'm automatically the prime suspect, and I get knocks on the doors from the cops.
Yeah.
Even though there could be someone
be getting yourself a fucking under the table one.
Well, and see, that's just it. The under the table sales, like illegal gun ownership, I can tell is going up. People are just, I don't know how. I've never looked into it. I don't want to because I've always considered myself a law-abiding citizen, and I'm still going to try and keep that.
I'm not saying necessarily for you. I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of people might be better off.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and that's
legally, you might as well get them illegally, you know.
I mean, if the restrictions to get one are so high, like for instance, like you have to go through a criminal background check. It like automatically goes up on you. Like they have a computer that just does it all the time. It gets done every single day, and even if you get a speeding ticket, the cops are going to call. They want to know like speeding or whatever else, were guns involved. Yeah, and it's like, you know, you get a speeding ticket. I mean, it's a fucking speeding ticket. You shouldn't get a call from the cops just because, you know. And if you don't answer, I mean, you might get a visit. That's how fucking creepy it gets here in Canada. And I didn't know all this until I started looking into it. So, and part of the reason why I'm like, well, I guess I shouldn't bother right now is because if things get dicey, like if they try to force a vaccine passport and all that, yeah, I'm going to be out on the streets protesting. I could get arrested. All right. When that happens, I'll probably never be able to own a gun.
Yeah.
So, exactly. I'm like, well, Like, so what freedoms do we have? So essentially, all that the government's doing, and they want to put in more restrictions. So they want to start banning certain guns and all that. Like, essentially, the government's making it so that people are just going to get it illegally. And this is just me complaining about this stuff. I'm sure there's actual people who are just doing it, which is true enough. Yeah. I mean, like illegal, like people, like gun crime is going up, and a lot of the guns that are being apprehended are guns that were gotten illegally from the border. So, what good is all these restrictions? You're just criminalizing the legal gun owners.
Yep. No, that's a problem in a lot of Democrat areas. Is they make these stupid gun laws, and then the only people that are suffering are the people who legally own guns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's like the people who are getting guns illegally are not gonna fucking be like, oh, here, let me just you've made it illegal. Oh, I better stop owning this illegal gun now. You know. Mm-hmm.
Well, and you know the other stupid thing is that the government always wants to, you know, get their little bit of every sale. I looked up, like, if you go through all the hoops, get yourself a handgun, because apparently that's far more restrictive than any other gun. So if you want to get a handgun, and you finally do get the ability to get one, which, by the way, you can't really use it anywhere except, like, I don't know, a range or something, like in a gun thing. You can't actually carry it with you anywhere. If you do, there's certain precautions, like it has to be the back of a vehicle or whatever. But anyway, if you do get a handgun, you have to also purchase a case for it, and it's a government-approved case. But apparently, it's got two locks on it. It's sort of made of plastic. But the guy I saw, the guy who was talking about these, he says these are the stupidest things ever, because the case is so fucking flimsy that it's got two locks on either side of the handle. You can just because you just put your fingers,
your hands, just like break exactly. The case.
You just pull it apart. Like, you don't even have to break it. You can just put it near the handle and just open it because it's like plastic. It's like think of it like a sheet, and you're just opening it up there. You just sort of reach in, and you with some finagling, you can take the gun out. And on top of all that, this plastic case is like a couple $100. You can get one at a fraction of the cost, make it out of metal, than one that actually works. It's like, what? The only reason you purchase is because the government says you have to purchase it. It's like, it doesn't do anything.
That is kind of fucking weird.
So yeah, I've learned a lot about gun laws in Canada, and they are ridiculously stupid. Ridiculously stupid.
God damn, it really does sound fucking bizarre, a lot of those laws. It sounds like California, though, in a lot of ways.
Probably. And a lot of these restrictions, I mean, it's like a little by little. Like, they'll make it just a little bit harder. Just a little bit harder. And it's been that way for a couple decades. It's just make it a little bit harder, because it used to be, like, back in the early 90s, like, if you remember, like, Bowling for Columbine, Michael Moore Goes to Canada, talks about how easy it is, and actually at the time, it was fairly easy. Like the laws or the restrictions to get a gun in Canada is pretty much identical to the ones in America. But just little by little, new laws come in, and that's how this happens. And a lot of people who do have guns, they're grandfathered in, like they're passed down from like from father to son, and. But if you want to start your own gun collection, no way. Jump through the hoops.
Damn. I'm going to pass personally on that.
Well, I used to grow up on the farm. And with the exception of my household, most other households had guns. So, like, you go to any other farmers, they always had guns. One, like, in case of, like coyotes or any other like wild animal wants to come in there, like a moose or something, or a deer. I mean, they come on your property, shoot it if it's going to cause damage. So that makes a lot of sense. But
that does make a lot of sense. You fucking dangerous animal or an animal that's going to damage your property is there for sure.
I mean, last thing you want is like a couple of coyotes, some wolves, and maybe even a fox to get into your chicken coop, because you sell those eggs, and that's your main source of income. So you want to be able to fucking kill the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously. That's what the gun's for. It all makes sense, but not these restrictions.
What is it in California? It's technically illegal to have a gun in public anywhere. So
Yeah,
it's not even technically legal to hunt in California. The laws are so bad. Oh shit! I haven't looked at this chat in a while. Okay, good. I was like, oh shit, I forgot. You still alive, Deitois?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Oh, okay, I just was curious.
I was
It's been
moving
so quiet
about.
for so long. I was like, I hope he's not dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I think I'm just. Am I coming through okay, or
yeah, fine
I'm still on my phone, but I'm back in the room.
Your connection is fine now, for me at least.
I literally have my phone sitting on top of the computer that I was using, so it's the same spot, but my phone was way better than this shitty old computer. What the fuck,
fine.
dude? I'm trying to play. I'm trying to play the PS4, which I have actually a LAN cable plugged into it, so it's not even like it's doing Wi-Fi, and it keeps kicking me off.
Damn.
It's really pissing me off, dude. And it's fucked up because I'm not playing an online game. Like I'm trying to play Saints Row 2, and it keeps kicking me. You know, yeah, it sucks that they fucking make you stay online now, dude. Fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Fuck Sony. That's what I'm saying. Fuck Sony.
It's all Sony's problem.
Ever since they moved to California, things have just gone downhill.
No, it was before that.
Well, I mean, Sony was going
for fucking many years.
Well, yeah, Sony started going downhill, and then they moved like their main headquarters to California, and then ever since then, they have to censor all Japanese games. It's like, what fucking happened to you, Sony? You used to be the cool kids, and now you're the fucking losers.
Yeah, I think even Japan is like prefers the Xbox now, don't they? I think it's some crazy shit like that. Like they fucked up so bad that even in Japan,
I think that Xbox started investing more into Japan because a lot of the games that they were making weren't popular with Japanese folks, so they invested more. So I think it started doing better. Definitely, Nintendo's still king. So that can't be denied.
No.
It probably didn't help that Nintendo also came out with their little theme park, the Nintendo Land or whatever, which everyone's fucking losing their minds over. If you ever seen one of those videos of people in Japan going to the Mario theme park, yeah, it's like, God, the little Nintendo fan in me even wants to go there and try that out.
Clearly, they have go-karts there, right? Like a Mario Kart setup.
They have something like that, I think, a little ride thing. It's just, yeah.
They're fucking happy.
They have a restaurant there that I really want to try out. It's a mushroom themed restaurant. And they have all these various different foods and stuff. Like,
I love mushrooms, dude. I would be fucking in.
Yeah, even stuff that's not actual like mushrooms, it's still in a mushroom shape. So like you can get like this pizza in a cup, which and then on it's like okay, think like a soup cup. Inside it's all the pizza bits, and on top of it is a is like a bun that you can use to dip in there and scoop it up and eat it with.
Oh, so like the pizza bread is on the top, like the mushroom cap, and then the cup is the stem with all the pizza bits in it, like the sauce and the cheese and the toppings.
Yep.
Oh, see, I would rather just have like a recipe, like a bunch of stuff that's just made out of different kinds of mushrooms, like themed foods.
Oh, they have that too. I mean, it's just
that's what I'm in for. That's what I want.
See, if like okay, mushrooms are all well and good, but if mushrooms are all you got, then
true,
it's like,
yeah,
well,
they would need stuff for like little kids and shit. Mushrooms aren't like I imagine like a super kid friendly food. They're kind of up there with like broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I'm sure on the list of the stuff that their main fucking demographic eats. right? I mean, this is a theme park that's probably mostly for kids anyway.
Probably because it is it is a theme park. Definitely, it'd be something there for kids.
So, like,
I think
their goal is kids. So you're gonna have like some sort of toasted cheese, some chicken nuggets, some pizza, a cheeseburger of some kind.
I mean, probably I don't know. You have to remember it is Japan, so I think
Japan. Okay, never mind. Well, if it's in Japan, that might be totally different.
It is. I look at it and I'm thinking this is something like I look at the whole restaurant. It is they go as far as they can with the themes and the decor, and it looks fucking fantastic.
I'll have to check out that YouTube video later. That's like 20 minutes long.
It's mostly food review.
I will check it out though. I love looking at like crazy weird foods. There's a Japanese ex-boxer, like he was a professional boxer in Japan, and he started a YouTube channel where he does cooking now. It's like Champ's Japanese Kitchen or something like that. And and he just does like healthier versions of like normal, like common sort of like Japanese like street food or like fast food kind of food, or like the kind of stuff you'd make quick but isn't really like the healthier option. So like chicken katsu and like, some teriyaki chicken bowls and all that kind of stuff. He just does it like a healthy way. Like he had one where it was you take your pork like thin cut pork chops and you put them in like a batter, like a really thin sort of flour batter, and then roll it in breadcrumbs and then fry it, like in pan fry it, and then oven bake it so that it's less fat than like if you deep fried it the way it's supposed to be. And so that was I tried that with pork chops. It was fucking great. It was all like super crispy and crunchy on the outside and juicy in the middle. It was crazy how good it came out. But he's only got like 4 or 5 videos out so far, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that'll have that pork, like a pork tenderloin fillet or whatever.
Yeah, tonkatsu.
Which was pretty much like you described. Or battered or whatever you call it. Similar to like, they're usually pretty good. Like, I'm trying to think. There's Culver's. Culver's has one. That's pretty good. And then there's a place called Ted's Hot Dogs, which there's one in Tempe, up by ASU. All the other ones are in upstate New York by Buffalo.
Oh, well, then I'll never see one.
Yeah. It's the weirdest thing, dude, because, again, literally, there's like 8 to 10 in the, greater Buffalo area. And then one in the rest of the country, and it's in Tempe.
They probably were trying to expand, and like maybe there were more at one point, but that's the one that made enough money to stick around.
I don't know, man. They're insanely good. Like, you wouldn't think a hot dog place would be all that profitable, but their stuff is fantastic.
I went to Wiener Schnitzel once when I don't know if they still exist, but we were on a road trip to see my grandfather at one point in a different part of California, and we went by a Wiener Schnitzel and had food there. It was really good. Hot dogs was that was their main thing. Oh, the Champ's Japanese Kitchen channel is all in English too. He doesn't do it in Japanese.
Oh, good.
So he actually speaks really good English, and he's a fucking character. He's hilarious. I don't know why, but I'm just like, this guy's awesome.
But yeah, the hot dog place I'm talking about.
Rides. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the hot dog place I'm talking about is it's way better than Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh,
and Wiener Schnitzel's good. I like
Wiener Schnitzel's is probably like the base. Like that's the standard for like a hot dog place. It's not great, it's not terrible, but it's it's all right.
Yeah, I don't really know of any other ones, dude. I'm trying to think of any kind of chain.
Just do hot dogs? I don't know, but Five Guys does hot dogs.
Yeah, or I mean that's their main
they're
thing.
Mainly a burger thing. Yeah, they don't do hot dogs as their main thing. Although their hot dogs are pretty fucking good. I mean, they're good quality hot dogs, and you can get pretty much all the same toppings you get on the burgers on the hot dogs.
Yeah, Five Guys is good shit, dude.
So if you want
fucking
like
spicy.
fried mushrooms, bell peppers, and onions on your hot dog, you can get it. If you want, barbecue sauce and ketchup or whatever, like whatever your weird combo is that you dig on a hot dog, Five Guys will do it. So it's really kind of nice in that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pricey, but goddamn, is it fucking good?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so fucking expensive. Well, and
Dude, that was the first time I ever had jalapenos that weren't pickled.
Oh, yeah.
And I was unaware that the pickling process apparently takes a lot of the heat out of the jalapenos.
Yes.
Because goddamn, was that fucking hot, dude. It was, it tasted obviously great, dude. But I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that much fucking heat.
I think the jalapenos you get at Subway are not pickled either.
Oh, no shit.
They certainly don't look it when I used to, from what I remember, when I used to get them on sandwiches when I go in. They did not look like they were pickled. They looked like they were fresh slices. Well, as fresh as you're going to get in Subway.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, really pricey. Because I think, like, me and my son, I went one time, and it was like, I think we just got, like, we shared a drink. We each got a burger, and we, like, shared an order of fries, and it was like $28.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit. I did not expect it to be that much.
The topic there of hot. Sorry, on the top of there, hot stuff. Apparently, okay. So our neighbors go to the food bank, and anything they don't want, they give us.
Oh.
And one of the things that they gave us was this jalapeno spicy bagels. I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. I enjoy bagels. I haven't had them in a while. I should not have them because they're full of carbs. But anyway, I thought I'd give it a go. I toasted it with some Cheese Whiz, had some kick to it. I thought, okay, yeah, that's not a big deal. And then I go on with my day. And what was it, like I don't know, around supper time I had to go to the bathroom. I figured, oh, okay, I got, take a poop. And what ended up happening? It fucking burnt. My fucking asshole was burning. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's not a joke. The fucking hot enough food will make your asshole burn when you shit. Yeah.
Yes, it did. It was quite something. I was not expecting that. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh man, that's when you gotta sit there and hope for the ice cream.
Oh god. I wish I had ice cream.
Like, come on, ice cream. Or at least that's the old joke that everybody tells.
It's like, just make it stop.
Ice cream on your butthole?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was sore. It was quite uncomfortable. I mean, it went away eventually, but I mean, like, god damn, at the time.
If you're not expecting it, it's a lot worse.
Well, and I totally forgot I was thinking to myself, am I sick? Is my asshole sore? Or do I need to rub it with some polysporin or something? Like, did I do something? I couldn't. It was so weird. I couldn't figure it out. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I had those bagels for breakfast. Fuck.
Yeah, I like those ones. It's got like the cheese and the fucking jalapenos on the top. Like the melted cheese and jalapenos.
Well, the jalapenos was mixed into the dough, so it was all throughout.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So I just toasted it and put it with some Cheese Whiz. I mean, that's the way I always had my bagels. That or cream cheese.
Cheese Whiz? I've never thought of Cheese Whiz on a bagel. That sounds so wrong to me. Like, it's like cream cheese or bust.
No.
Or peanut butter. I do like peanut butter on a bagel.
I'm not. I've never been a fan of peanut butter. But no, I usually use Cheese Whiz because I put that shit on everything.
All right. Well, if you ever wondered why you might be joining the fat side with the rest of us fatties, like Cheese Whiz on everything could potentially be something to do with that. It could.
Well, also it's all the carbs. So my goal is
carbs are the most the cheapest way to feed yourself.
Yes, and that's that was part of the problem because for some reason, and I think I know why, but my power bill was quite high for this month. It was usually I pay 150. It was like 570. That's very high.
Damn, dude.
Now I think my thinking process on this is that the reason why it was so high is because last month I used an air conditioner. It's one of those like put in the window kind of air conditioners. That was the only thing that was different. Nothing else had changed except for that. So I didn't use the air conditioner all this month. So when I get my next power bill, I'm expecting it to go down.
Yeah, AC is fucking super expensive.
Oh yeah, this has been like the worst summer when it comes to money because I've had a lot of things I had to pay for, like at the start of the summer. My mom had these birds, and the birds started laying eggs, and then the 2 birds ended up becoming 7. Like, okay, well that's not good. And then they laid another batch of 5 eggs. Went, okay, well this isn't good. So we got some wood and some stuff to make a little bird cage. But the price of wood has skyrocketed.
Oh yeah,
in
you
price.
talked about that the last time you were on. I think actually you were saying that, or maybe it was the time before. But yeah, I remember you mentioning that. It was like that was fucking insane.
Yeah, I've been bitching about it for a while. So like, yeah, the price of wood is so high. So I had to.
You want to check if your druggy neighbors are stealing your power.
We worried that might be a factor as well.
Oh, he had to make a what's that guy? And it burns, a ring of fire. Like that guy.
Burn in a flaming ring of fire. Yeah, I know that guy.
Johnny Cash. I don't know why.
Johnny Cash. There you go.
Dude, I think of your burning asshole from the fucking bagels. I didn't have the chat pulled up like I should have. I wanted to catch up.
Yeah, I had that. I had that earlier. It was bad. It was nasty.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's been a bad summer. I mean, it was the bird cage for 1 month, and then the dog needed some work to be done, so we had to pay for that. And so and then it was the fucking AC. So it's like this is the worst summer when it comes to goddamn fucking power. Or just bills in general. I'm not happy about this summer. I can barely get anything done.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way it is here. Like our bills during the winter would be like maybe 120, 150. But yeah, during the summer, they would usually be about $400 or $500 here.
Yeah, there's always this thing that a lot of the power companies do where they're like, we charge you a standard rate until you reach this level, and then we charge you like 5 fucking times the going rate. And it shouldn't be legal, but it is. It's so fucking ridiculous. And like in California, we have this whole thing where they want us to cut back on water. So regardless of how many people in your house, you're supposed to cut back 20% from your previous year's water every single time.
Wow.
Which is fucking retarded. Because at a certain point, you've reached minimum. Like, you can't cut back more than where you are. Like, people still need to, like, drink water, cook food, wash dishes, take showers. McStinky Pants is going to get fired if he doesn't fucking take a shower and show up to work smelling like fucking rot every day. Like...
Yeah, that's pretty fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter, like, how many people live in your house or any kind of changes of any kind. It's you're supposed to cut it back 20% from the previous year.
That's fucking bullshit, dude. I can't believe they get away with that shit.
Oh, Nostradamus points out where they charge you more to cover other people that can't or won't pay. Yeah, that's probably a good part of it, too. Yeah. More so in Canada, I would think, because they're further down that socialism trail.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only thing about power, especially here in Canada, was like we pay more in the wintertime, but then like
part of the reason, because you need more heat and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and also apparently they send people out to check your numbers, your little the machine at the back, and apparently they send them out. They don't send them out as much during the winter because it's the winter, and sometimes that's icy, and people can't quite get to the back. So it's like, nah, it's not. It's too dangerous.
Oh, do they get to charge you like theoretical money? Like we couldn't send the people out, so we get to just charge you twice your last month's bill just in case. But we'll totally pay it back to you later if you did.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah,
it just never shows up again.
Yeah, it's that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
We're dealing with the kind of thing where they'll come over and check it, or they won't really check it, and then come summertime they'll come back and then you'll get one good month where you pay next to nothing. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay, and that's supposed to make everything you suffer through the whole fucking winter. Oh, that makes it all good then. All right, well, fuck you too.
Oh man.
It's like, can't I just take you a picture with my phone and say, oh yeah, I guess that could be doctored. All right, well, fuck that. Speaking of...
or shouldn't they have by now taken some of the insane levels of profit they've gotten and invested in a system that doesn't require somebody to go out and fucking look at it?
You would think so, but no, because we're talking about the government here, and they don't know what to do with the money.
Learn to read power meters and challenge the bill. You probably not worth it.
Yeah.
They'd probably fuck you worse, and then you'd have legal fees or something.
Probably.
Maybe it might work in states that are not, like, you know, completely corrupt at this point, like Florida, but California for certain, definitely not a good plan.
Yeah. California, I mean, depending on how this recall thing goes, if you get I forget that Larry Elder or whatever, if you get him as governor, your state will probably, you know, bounce right back up. I'm praying.
That would be nice, but I don't think they're gonna recall Newsom. I think that's gonna be rigged. I don't think it's gonna matter what people vote in California.
It maybe. I hope that's not the case.
Certainly not trying to fix the election issues at all.
That's true. I mean, wasn't there a guy recently arrested and he had like a bunch of mail-in ballots in his car? It's like that's definitely illegal.
Yeah, it's all over the place. The amount of evidence that Biden rigged the election and that is going to continue to be an issue is insanely high.
Yeah.
There's so much evidence that shows that stuff, but like, you know, it just gets shut down. I mean, it gets just removed. Like, you know, any company at this point can just take whatever they want off the internet and make sure that nobody can see it or hear it. If it's not the official story of the propaganda from like the government, which is absurd.
Yeah.
Oh, Nostradamus says there were over 300 recall ballots in his car.
That sounds about right.
They're going to ballot harvest like they did with the presidential election in every single other election.
Yeah.
Like now that that's proven to work, it's not going to stop until somehow we get these things challenged in courts that refuse to listen to evidence, or, you know, revolution and everybody just goes apeshit and starts shooting each other, you know?
I mean, that, and that could happen.
Ballot harvesting will really not be a big question anymore. Like, I don't think that'll be the concern on everybody's case. You know, everybody be like, "Do my walls thick enough to stop bullets?" Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, like, or you can start doing what they did in France. I don't know how much of an effect this is having, but apparently, guillotines have come back, and they have been found in town squares in places in France.
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew that was going to happen.
I remember when I saw.
I was making comments like a year ago on all the YouTube videos from France. Like, they're going to bring the guillotine back. It's coming. Like, these people invented it.
Don't fuck with them, and they are. I mean, they are going through like the massive protests like every weekend.
Right now, they're completely refusing to follow the COVID passport bullshit.
Yep.
Which is insane. The concept that any business or government entity should be able to force you to take some sort of medical treatment in order to have the privilege of going out and doing like normal everyday fucking activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and especially like there are going to be people that just can't get the
jab, the vaccine.
I don't know why I couldn't think of that word.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you're right, and that's part of the problem. I mean, like people who can't take it either for religious or medical reasons, they're now going to be de facto like second class citizens, or they're going to be under house arrest for the rest of their life. That doesn't even make sense.
So I'm
On
not
top
going
of
to
all
follow
that,
any of those rules. I don't give a shit.
exactly.
Like,
Well,
I'm sorry, no. You don't get to decide that I'm not allowed to go see or do anything.
yeah, I agree. I don't think that should be a government. Like, if this vaccine is so good, why are you fucking forcing people to take it?
Well, I
Why?
don't think they're even. I don't think they're even close to the halfway mark as far as like what percentage of the population is buying into it.
Yeah, I agree. The vaccine is fucking frightening. That was the other thing about Alex Jones I had to turn away from because they brought on a couple. He brought on a couple doctors explaining it, and now it's like this shit is actually going to kill you. You have like the first shot will like lower your immune system by 15%, and that makes you more susceptible to all kinds of like if you get the common cold, it will affect you way worse than it did before. And then you get your second shot, it's so ill. Like if you get the cold, it'll be so bad you might actually die. Cold and flu season is coming in. People are going to start dying, and then they're going to say it's all you anti-vaxxers, you people who didn't get it. It's all your fault. They're going to blame it on us, even though it's clearly the vaccine. And these doctors are they were on there. They were explaining all this, and I looked up their names, and yeah.
Oh, so I was gonna say I ended up going to the ER after the last cast because I fucking had the panic attack and it was really bad. So I genuinely thought I couldn't breathe, but
yeah,
he tried to tell me that they had like 900 people die last month in the ER, and it's like, okay, I can literally look those numbers up, and that's not even close. You know, like.
Mm-hmm.
I can look up the number of people that died the last month in the entirety of the city and the county we live in, and it's like not even half that.
Right.
You know, it's like a few hundred. It's like I think it's 100 people. We have a fairly decent sized county, but like it's certainly not 900 people. And then it's like, and then everyone that you talk to says it's only people that are unvaccinated. They'll never ever cop to the fact that there are people who are vaccinated that are getting it. Apparently, especially in Israel. That's just starting to pop up as like a huge thing right now. Like they're getting like a big wave of infected.
Yeah. Well, because Israel is the one place that they got the most people vaccinated anywhere per population.
Well, the prime minister agreed to be the test run for the vaccine on all of his people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they did this, and then now like people are starting to get sick and die, and they had to shut down the whole country all over again. Like, yeah, this isn't going to be good. And and they recently came out, like it was the Israeli scientists or doctors who came out with a study showing that natural immunity is far more effective than the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get it and you recover, you're fine. In fact, you're probably better. Yeah, your natural immune system is better than what you would get with the vaccine. Clearly.
It says the only reason the unvaccinated are in the hospital is because they're treating the vaccinated and sending them home.
Thanks. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole thing is like, it's gonna blow up. You know it's gonna happen. And if you have any concept of history at all, you know that these companies and government-run programs like this have almost always ended up in just horrific, like, body counts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not going to be good. Now, luckily, I don't believe the numbers of vaccinated people, because here in my province, I think we were only at like 20%, and our premier said that once we reach 70% vaccinated, then he'll lift all the restrictions. And we were sitting at like 20%, I think, or maybe it was 30. I can't remember one or the other. And then out of nowhere, he announced, "Oh yeah, we hit our 70%. We're good to go." And he lifted all the restrictions.
That's what I thought. In where I live, actually, you did the same thing. That's trippy. California and Canada, we should just unite.
Well, your governor there, Newsom. I've always said this. he behaves, acts, and his mannerisms, everything is exactly the same as Trudeau. You watch a video with Justin Trudeau, and you watch a video with Gavin Newsom. They are the identical people.
That's what I wanted to hear.
That's the
I wanted to hear that so much.
Well, I kept hearing like American people bitching about Gavin Newsom. I started looking up in this guy, and I've watched enough videos of Justin Trudeau to know Justin Trudeau when I see him. It's like this guy.
It's like Trudeau was putting on a Gavin Newsom mask and showing up in California half the year.
I guess I don't know. Does Newsom have a connection to Cuba? Like, is there any theories that his father might be Castro?
Is Gavin Newsom putting on a Justin Trudeau mask and then moonlighting for the Canadian government, like on his off time as governor?
I mean, maybe that guy's overworked.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. These guys are fucking crazy. That's all I know.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous what's going on.
Yeah.
On a less serious note, because I am in that VR chat karaoke group, I do get to see some of the stuff the younger people post, and man, younger people are unfortunately into these e-girls. But
absolutely,
somebody posted a little comment thing, and I'm not going to read it because it's not that interesting. But this dude paid $100 to get onto this chick's OnlyFans, or no, Patreon level or something. It was some sort of thing that they paid a lot of money to get onto, but it was like $100 or so to call her like a whore and start talking shit to her, and it's like, man, that's fucking weird. like you might want to find a judge and get a restraining order because this guy's clearly got some problems.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Like, I mean, okay, if he's that intense that he needs to pay like $100 to fucking call you a whore, make sure he doesn't know your address. Like,
exactly. Like, okay, I would say that part of the problem with the e-girl situation is that the e-girls, like, if you've been locked up for a year, chances are, I mean, you're getting horny. And these e-girls are out there. That's the closest like female interaction you're gonna get. Like, it would make sense they blew up in popularity.
Consider that. Fuck. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense why it would suddenly explode. Yeah. Fucking.
And it's the same thing with the VTuber. Same thing with the VTubers. Like you could make a lot of money as a VTuber. So that's why I was like,
if you can do what they do without throwing up in your mouth the whole time.
I mean, you need to understand, these girls who are VTubers, they're just like the e-thoughts. They're just like them. The only difference is that they have an anime avatar, and they like to watch anime from time to time. That's it. They'll come on there, they'll talk about their...
She's such a weeb like I am. Maybe she'll touch my pee-pee if I pay her enough money.
Exactly, or she'll imply it. And that's the other thing.
I understand these dudes, man. Like, they think they got real genuine, like, fucking connections with these chicks that they'll, like, tip on streams or pay on OnlyFans.
Yeah. Again, like, you know, part of the other problem is that, like, interaction between men and women is so fucking bizarre right now. Like, for me, it was like when you had the whole feminist movement going on. It's like, good luck asking a girl out on a date if she doesn't back then. Like back then, if she found you creepy in any which way,
rapist and you're fucked.
Exactly. Or let's say you go out to the bar and you're really nervous, so you have a couple drinks to try and get your confidence up there, to work up the courage to go out and ask that girl to dance or offer to buy her a drink.
But the real problem is the hypersexualization on top of that. Like, that's bad enough.
Well,
but then they teach people to just be like behaving like a porn star is totally socially normal.
Mixed messages is what it is. It's mixed messages.
At the same time, that's the part that really fucks it all up.
Well,
so people have this skewed view of how dating and relationships and sex should be, and then on top of that, even getting to the dating process is walking through a minefield. That is just so fucking unhealthy.
Well, for a lot of these women, the standards of the guys they're looking for is so ridiculously high that they don't live in reality. Like a lot of these women, they want guys that make like six figures and have an awesome body and can fuck every day, every night, and all that stuff. It's like these guys don't really exist. They're like 1%. And so the average person, you just need to lower your expectations and be happy that someone would want to spend time with you at all. Like, guys are willing to lower their expectations, but for some reason women have raised them. And these ugly bitches, like women who are like, I don't know, a 3 at most, think that they can get a guy that's like a 6 or something. Like if I'm going like a rating system of like 1 out of 5 or something. Yeah. So the women are kind of the problem, and they dress very sexy and all that because they're hoping to get that one guy, the rare guy that makes a lot of money and be interested in them, and that's why they're always so willing to put it out.
Oh well, the thing is that the guy that fits those standards will fit those standards for a lot longer than they will.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason for that guy to get married. There's no benefit in that. I mean, that guy can go out and literally just pick up almost any woman. And maybe he has to settle occasionally for like somebody that's like a couple of levels below what he would normally get. But some sex is better than no sex. So most dudes are like, whatever, like I'll do it. And
well, and to make matters,
just move on.
And to make matters worse, I mean, you got things like Tinder, like dating apps that aren't really dating apps or like hookup apps. They made the dating field so much worse because for a woman, like let's say you look at a college woman, and if she wanted to, she could hook up with a guy in his 30s. He's got a car, can drive her to the lake, go out and see movies, he can do all this stuff. Or you can date a guy in your age bracket, and what's the most he could offer you? A microwave pizza and Netflix. If
that
even
explains
that.
Why so many fucking creepy college dudes are like picking up on high school girls.
Well, I mean that could be. It could also explain the whole like VTubers and e-thoughts because that's the only female interaction they can get. Like if you're a guy, it's very likely there's a lot of guys out there who have never had sex in their life and probably won't until their 30s. Once you've made a bunch of money and you got like a house and stuff, then yeah. But a lot of these guys like they don't really see that incentive. Like you have to start earning money when you're young. Like you need to start, go out, get a job and that stuff in your 20s and work your way up. And then, it's just not going to happen that way. And so a lot of guys they don't see a reason why. And so they're stuck playing video games and buying their little collectibles and watching VTubers to get their female interaction or your e-thoughts or whatever. And so it's not realistic. And you look at and not to mention if you really want that sexual interaction, I mean there's always porn. So a lot of guys are just jerking off and then they have no interest. Like why bother hooking up with an actual woman? She ain't gonna look at you the same way. So,
honestly, like I imagine those e-thoughts are probably a lot nicer to their fans and their simps. If that's what the simps want, but essentially, like I'm sure they're way nicer than anybody on the dating scene will be too.
Exactly.
Oh, good point. Good luck making money in your 20s when the recession hits. Yeah, it's. Oh my god, I don't think anybody understands like how fucked we are right now. Yeah. There's so much money. That it's just
and here's the thing,
like that there's nothing to back up.
I'm going to put my little conspiracy hat on, even though it's pretty much not a conspiracy anymore. But a lot of this nonsense started during the feminist movement that occurred way back in like the early 2010s.
Yeah,
and the reason why it's because they all went feminist and all the other nonsense, and that's what started a whole whack of the situation we're in now. But if you look also like in colleges and universities, there was a case of where a bunch of professors were being arrested because it turns out they were getting money from China to operate these things. Now, a lot of people always assumed it was in the sciences, and they were in there, but they were also in gender studies as well. So it's entirely possible to say that everything that we're experiencing right now is brought on by China. They planned it out in advance because science and tech. Yeah,
I don't think there's any doubt. I think you'd be foolish to doubt that at this point.
Well, it's just whenever I bring this up, to anyone outside of the internet, I'm always labeled conspiracy theorist and whatnot. But it's all true. Like the scientists, like a bunch of college professors, were arrested for for taking money from China. Some of them were scientists.
Don't give a fuck about facts right now for some odd reason. Like they legitimately are like, oh, that doesn't matter if it's not true because I don't want it to be true. It's so fucking weird.
Mm.
Like, and then, I just wanted to point that out because it's such an odd situation we're in where you can literally be like, no, look, here's this document that verifies what I said. And they're like, nah.
Well, and part of the problem is, like, after a certain amount of time, like when you start hitting your 30s, you start getting, set in your ways in a lot of best way to describe it. Like, I know some women who are in their 30s now, and they started going through this whole feminist, minefield. When they started going through that, well, now it's like an orthodoxy to them. Even if I was to bring up all this and prove to 100%, they are set in their ways and they'll never change their mind. It's like, no, feminism is all about equality and stuff. Like, doesn't matter if I could prove that this is brought up by China. This is because China is all about ruining the culture, which they have. And it ruined the harmony between men and women, because we used to view ourselves as like symbiotic. Well, it's easier
to control people that all hate each other.
Yeah, and so we're divided.
There's less chance that they'll put together information with other people and figure out what's going on.
Right, and like we're more divided than ever, and we need to be united when the big threat comes. And there might be some let me tell you, this whole vaccine passport has certainly united people more. Like if you look in Australia, the mixture of people who are protesting on the street, it's a mixture of people who believe in vaccines and all that, and the people who don't. And a lot of them are united because they don't think it should be fair that people should be
because if you
separated.
Believe in the vaccines, then you would be safe regardless of whether or not your neighbor was vaccinated.
Exactly.
Either the vaccines work and they're in no danger whatsoever, or they don't, and it doesn't matter.
Yep. So it seems to be like the protests on the streets are uniting people, and that's very heartwarming. The unfortunate thing is that the politicians are not listening, and they're bringing in police, and a lot of the media isn't reporting on this stuff. Like I see it all the time whenever I turn on. Or if I go on the internet, if I go on various different sites from Twitter to all that, but you will never hear it on the mainstream, which is where a lot of people get the news, and they won't talk about it. Even though there are huge protests outside of the BBC in the UK, they won't talk about it, even though in some cases the protests are so loud that it's coming through the studio walls. So you can't really fight it, but they're trying to.
Yeah. I don't know, man. We're fucked.
Well, sort of. I don't know. Like, people are fighting back, and hopefully it'll eventually make a difference. Like, if it goes to rioting, I hope it doesn't, but it could. I'm thinking it won't just be France that has guillotines. And in Minecraft. Gotta put that out there. I hope it doesn't get to that. I hope the politicians are smart enough to know to stop while they're ahead.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't believe that our politicians are actually in control.
So many of our politicians have already been found to have either direct ties to like Chinese agents or like Chinese agents in their employ. It's kind of absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there was two of the more well-reported cases where Pelosi had a driver that was a Chinese spy. And then I forget what the other guy's name was, but there was a guy who was tied to like a Chinese whore. And,
I think I know who you're talking about.
She was probably fucking a lot more than just that one dude,
I think her name was Fang Fang. I remember.
She was controlling him and probably a lot of other people that they just don't have the evidence for.
Like she was a really good looking person, and you look at the person
that had the driver, not Pelosi. My bad.
Oh, okay.
She didn't look that great, I thought. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm misremembering it too.
I know there was this one chick who was, dating a guy who was clearly ugly as sin, and overweight and stuff, and clearly she wasn't dating him for his looks. I think her name was Fang Fang, and then
Fang Fang, yeah. I'm looking at her. No, she wasn't that hot. She was like kind of average looking.
Well, yeah, but look at that guy. It's like, who was he going to get? That was the hottest chick he was ever going to get.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like, a lot of these guys are probably like, well, I mean, she was pretty, better than I would normally, fucking land. Yeah, if she puts on some makeup and stuff, she kind of looks a little better, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking funny. Yeah. Oh, man. Does anybody here know Awaken with JP?
No, never heard of him.
The YouTube channel.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I never heard of it, dude.
He does satire and comedy, and recently he's become very much anti-SJW on all his stuff. I did put a video of his up there. He created a social platform with this other guy that essentially works to keep everybody basically anonymous entirely and able to like post wherever they want without anybody being able to shut it down. It works through Bitcoin transactions somehow. But here's the thing. I think they created a multi-level media thing. A multi-level marketing scam. Oh, Satan wants you to stop by and say fuck Detroit for reasons. Okay. He's in the chat, but he's not going to come into the voice. Well, you have fun, Satan and Satire. Duly noted.
Get good and drunk or something.
Is that because I missed his message when he was driving by my house on I-10?
No,
is that why he's upset?
No.
Does he know where you live? He just drives by and goes, fuck you!
Yells it out the window. All right, have fun at work, dude. But the way it works is supposedly because it runs with Bitcoin, you can actually make money off of like people commenting on your posts and liking your posts. People can choose to give you like very small portions of like Bitcoin as well. And so it sounds.
Oh, okay, yeah,
like
that's the one you wanted me to watch.
Yeah, and it's supposedly like it's this big thing about sovereignty and freedom, which they keep saying over and over. Now, here's the thing about it. I don't think that Awaken with JP gets what's going on. I think he's genuinely just dumb enough and fell for the fucking MLM. But that other guy is really fucking slick. Like, he's really good at doing buzzwords and, like, the fucking, if you've ever listened to any, like, like, different kinds of MLM or, like, different kinds of sales pitches from all the different kinds of MLMs out there, you kind of get this sort of, like, weird little quips that they make. Like you know, better an early loser, or no, it's better to get in early while it's still, you know, a more exposure. Like, yeah, it's a smaller audience, but there's more people that are going to see your stuff because it's such a smaller, you know, group so far. And you're better off getting in early because if you get in late, then it'll be like harder for other people to find you.
Fair enough. I mean, there's something to be said about getting in on something early. Like, look at anyone who starts up a news agency on the on YouTube or something. They're doing better now than the mainstream when they come in late. Like Rebel News here in Canada. I mean, the only reason they're so big now is because they got in early. Because right now all the mainstream is trying to get in on the YouTube game, and they get like nothing. They get like barely any views at all.
Yeah.
And like the CBC, our taxpayer funded news outlet, we spend like $1.5 billion on them, and they only get like 1% of the views total in the country. I'm like, why are we giving you guys $1 billion? Why?
Damn.
What's like? It is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, it was like during the early days of Trudeau when he was first running, because that's when people were really panicking because everyone was going to new media. They weren't going to the old legacy stuff, and so the legacy media was asking, like, Trudeau, if you become prime minister, will you like put forward like a bailout or something for media because we're suffering and jobs are at stake? Yeah. And he said he would, but only if you report on factual and truthful information. Well, what does that mean? Hell if I know.
Yeah.
But then he wins, and true to his word, he gives them a bailout, and essentially every news outlet in Canada is owned by the Liberal Party. So is it no wonder why he gets favorable coverage? Yeah, is it no wonder why he gets favorable coverage everywhere he goes?
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, but it's not like it really matters because, like I said, like people stop watching the mainstream news. Everyone gets their news online now. The most popular news network in Canada is Rebel News, and they're the ones that are essentially banned from all election reporting. So, like they kept the last election, they were banned from any news outlet, and so they went to the courts and they sued to be allowed to cover the election, and the judge agreed and granted them immediate, freedoms to go in and cover the news outlet. So they had to be let in. But it's like they had to sue just to get in, and now currently we're in a snap election right now, and so apparently yet again they've been banned from getting in. So they're going to have to sue again to get that. So at least that sounds like that's what's going to happen. The debates haven't even started yet. Right now, it's just that everyone's on the campaign trail. So yeah, Canada's a messed up place. But at least we know where the mainstream media is getting their money. You guys have a similar problem. Like who the fuck is paying CNN? Who? Like we know where our money comes from. It comes from the taxpayer. That's why everyone's still alive. But places like CNN, like where are they getting their money?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because like some of this stuff is pretty fucking crazy. What do you call it? Oh, what is it? Like some of the YouTube channels that are super left wing, like the Young Turks, is like basically done by like a, what do you call it?
They got
like a terrorist group, essentially.
You could say that, allegedly. When they first got started up there was like a rich guy who gave them like, was it $5 million to start up their news organization, and then from there they just grew, and then they did a partnership with a group called AJ Plus, which is like a Al Jazeera, not Al Jazeera. It was some Middle Eastern news outlet, and so they partnered with them, and that's where they get all their money from. And
damn,
yeah, but it's funny though because you remember Hassan Piker? That was the Buffalo's nephew. I can't remember his name. Cenk Uygur. Yeah, it was his nephew, but he kept saying the most ridiculous bullshit. And so he actually had to get fired from the Young Turks because the shit he was saying was so fucking out there. But then Hassan, he starts a Twitch account, and he keeps spouting his socialist nonsense. And all he's doing is he's massaging the muscles of socialists who are almost all like filthy rich, like multi-millionaires and billionaires. And now he's one of them, which is what all the controversy is all about. He's like I don't know how many millions he's made on his Twitch account, but because socialists are so fucking rich, they send him all this money, and now he's one of them.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you guys talk about socialism and it's so fucking cringy, but they make all this money and it's like you guys are practically capitalists now. What the fuck is going on? You not see the controversy? Or the conflict?
Yeah. You would think that would be really easy to notice.
I mean, just put two and two together. That's all you gotta do. But no, they don't. And I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of socialists on the internet, they all have mental problems. And someone had suggested the reason why a lot of them, like, they only therapists and
you can't believe in things like socialism if you don't already have some fucking screws loose.
Well, it's also like they're not stupid. They see and they know that the reason why they make all this money is because of capitalism. They know this, but they have an audience built up on socialism, so they have to keep talking about it. They have to keep bringing it up. So essentially, what happens? They become fake, and you have to. And the reason why a lot of these people, like, they can have all the money in the world, and they're miserable. They're miserable, and the reason is that they have to live a fake life. Yeah, you have all this money, but now you have a like now you have to live like a double life, and people who live double lives are miserable. They can't do it. They can't keep it going.
I don't go off on people about my politics, but I'll tell you what. Nobody, even where I work, nobody I've talked to yet has ever disagreed with any of the things I bring up politically, and I'm pretty right wing compared to most Californians for sure. Like, I'm not a conservative, but I mean, I just fall into that group as far as Californians would definitely call it.
Mm-hmm.
And virtually every person I've ever spoken to is completely on board. There's the odd person who's just really dumb and unclear on the concept. Like, one of the guys thinks that the Gavin Newsom recall is just a bunch of Republicans that are unhappy with Gavin. And it's like, but it's that headed by Democrats. Like, it's not actually a Republican group that's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a bipartisan group at this point, but it was started by like a couple of Democrats who were just like, this isn't going to work. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, for you to just not be able to figure out something that basic, you know, gotta be some other fucking screws not quite tightened up, you know?
Exactly. Well, I look at all that's been going on. I don't think these people, like a lot of people we consult that they're calling conservatives. I think they're just disenfranchised liberals. I think they're still liberals. It's just the term liberal is going in such a bizarre, fascistic.
It's turned into a cult. So, like,
yeah,
you know, like, they have catchphrases. They have all the gobbledygook things. The anybody who doesn't agree with you is an enemy, and you have to co-opt people to your beliefs by hook or by crook. Like, any way you can, you have to make people believe what you think. Like, that's all the standard things for a cult. That's not it's not even remotely out of the playbook. Everything fits.
Yeah.
You know, like,
well, it like a lot of things that we used to cherish, we don't do anymore. Like a lot of times, people just shouldn't talk politics. You leave that to leave that to the ballots. You know, I think
or people would talk politics and they'd stay polite.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's wrong with
like, oh, okay, you don't agree, I don't agree, that's fine. Like, no worries, it's not a big deal.
Like, whatever happened to agree to disagree? Like, where'd that go?
Yeah.
Apparently, that's terrible. That's sexist or racist or whatever slur they want to use at that day. Whatever's popular at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of how cults operate. You know, you get the special words that you and your cult people all know that are code words that make you smarter than everybody else because you know the code words and the catchphrases and stuff that you got to memorize to, like, be part of the group kind of thing is part of it. But then on the other half, they have to divorce you from all of the things that would, you know, keep you in a normal society, like, you know, having, you know, friends that are not all the same kind of people. Like, you can only be friends with cult members now. You can't be friends with anybody that's not in the cult. So, like, that's exactly the same as being like, well, if you're a Democrat, anybody that's a Republican is an evil, racist, terrible person that you have to kill. You know, like, you got to sever those initial ties, and you got to, like, break the social norms so that they feel like they can laugh at and mock other people because they know what real morality is, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, like, a lot of cult leaders are banging like 90 out of 100 of the women in the cult, you know, like.
Yeah.
Kind of scary the more you think about it.
I choose not to. Cults are scary. But you're right, that a lot of what we have right now is a lot of cult mentality. The world's a fucked up place right now. Yeah.
Somebody doesn't agree with OnlyFans. They think there's something wrong with that, and they're an incel. You know, it's like,
wow.
You know.
Yeah. Well, that did happen, but then OnlyFans started saying, "Oh yeah, we're banning all sexual conduct." It's like now everyone hates OnlyFans.
Well, like, the big part of OnlyFans that like, so I don't really give a shit about like the thoughts making money. It's fucking obnoxious, but I'm not like, you know.
Well, we understand why.
Die on the hill. I understand, and it's a failure of both men and women, and it's a symptom of a much larger disease.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a really big problem with, at least for me, people who are like 16 and 17 starting to prime their audience for their OnlyFans.
Yeah.
That's really fucking questionable. And then also, there were apparently a lot of underage girls getting on OnlyFans and making a bunch of money selling child porn.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like 16 and 17-year-old girls who were like, just, I can't wait till I'm 18. I need to get this easy money by selling pictures of my vagina now.
Well,
and OnlyFans doesn't really have any way to prevent that put in place. That was a big part of what the payment processors wanted to shut it down for.
If it wasn't OnlyFans, I mean, they link their PayPal accounts.
Oh, I agree. It's not a thing that is only on OnlyFans, and shutting it down on OnlyFans isn't going to solve the problem, which is why I don't like the concept that these payment processors can just shut companies down for this kind of shit. It's because we're not dealing with the root of the problem. That's just taking care of like one symptom. You know, it's like, oh, you got a bullet wound. Let me put a Band-Aid over on this edge.
I think, I think you hit the nail on the coffin there. I mean, I think that hit the nail on the head. I think it is a symptom of what's going on, and I think a lot of young women tend to look at like what's the future hold, and they look at this over sexualization, and the easy money would be something like an OnlyFans. Like, you don't even have to have sex with anyone.
If
it's like prostitution without
my junk could pay my rent, I'd happily do it. I don't give a fuck. It would not bother me in the slightest.
It's the same thing with these.
Pay me for that shit. That's pretty fucking nasty. I don't think people would pay me not to show it. Like, I mean, could be a terrorist.
It's the same thing with like the Instagram models. It's the same thing with all the lewd artist stuff. Like, I remember whenever I would post like lewd pictures I would draw, and those would get a fair bit of hits. Fair bit of people would like them. But that's also part of the same problem. Like, people would go into that stuff. So that's why I slowed down a bunch, because it's like, I don't really want to contribute to that. I love drawing naked women. Don't get me wrong.
You can make a lot of money, and it's really hard not to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. That's where a lot of it happens, so
that's the thing. I don't blame the people that are involved at all. I mean, well, some of them are fucking despicable on their own right, like Amaranth, like those kind of people.
Yeah, but I mean,
Belle Delphine, Amaranth, they're just fucking despicable. But the average chick who just wants to pay rent, I don't feel like I'm not hating on.
Yeah, but you have to remember that a lot of it's the same thing. I mean, like, part of the reason why like Amaranth and all, they're all assholes is because they've never had to face the consequences of their actions. They always just get whatever they want because like they've been treated so well for so long.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how communism works. There's like the special chosen ones that get to be super wealthy, and then everybody else has to be poor and fucking destitute.
Yeah, I mean, they just sort of they get what they like. They like, for instance, if everyone's like worshiping at your feet, and that's been going on for so long, you tend to develop a complex. You think that you're owed attention, you're owed a certain amount of admiration. Like like essentially, it's the men in their lives that, like, especially on the internet, who treat them like this, that they think they can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. On a slightly side note, when it comes to all those lewd artists, I just remembered this. You guys ever heard of Shadman?
Shadman, nah, it sounds familiar, but I can't put my finger on it.
So he's one of those. He's a really good artist. He's been very successful. He does a lot of the lewd stuff, and he'll do, like, he's the kind of guy that's like no limits. He'll do anything. You know, like lolly stuff and all that, he'll do it. He doesn't give a rat's ass. He'll do it. He'll take what's popular and he'll fucking make it like lewd and stuff. During the last election, like he made like a female, I think it was like a female Donald Trump, and made it sexy and just had him getting fucked by the voters or something. So that's the kind of guy that he is. Now, he has his own web.
That's fucking hilarious.
Like, yeah, so he has a whole website where he posts a whole whack of shit. And like I said, no limits. No limits. He'll do fucking anything. And he's a really good artist, and so that's adds the creep factor of it. Anyway, there's another guy named Dan Harmon. And Dan Harmon is the creator of, like, Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom and all that. He has a YouTube channel.
Those, yeah.
Yeah, and so he'll do he'll do commissions, and he'll do it live on his stream, and he'll do that. Well, Shadman decided to commission him and do his avatar. So I just posted that here in the Discord. Mm-hmm. And everyone's losing their shit because the internet knows who Shadman is, but Dan Harmon doesn't know who Shadman is.
Who Shadman is? Oh, that's fucking dirty.
So there's a picture of him with the sketch that he did, and I saw this, and I'm like, clearly you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't take a guy who's made a career on family-friendly programming and fucking do a guy who made a career.
For him because he's gonna constantly be fucking associated with this fucking scumbag dude.
And so
he took advantage of like what he does in such a kind of a gross way, man.
And so, like, I'm looking at it and I'm laughing. I woke up this morning, checked my phone real quick, and this is the first thing I saw. I instantly knew what was going to happen. Like, God damn it, Chad. Man. Chad, you're an asshole.
It's still kind of funny, though. Like, I feel bad for the guy, but that's kind of funny still.
Well, he had his own controversy, Dan Harmon, there, because I think I'm saying his name correctly. Anyway, because apparently he's been doing this for so long, he just got lazy one time. He literally traced like another person's art.
Oh,
wow! He was commissioned to do a picture of Rama One Half. That was an anime character, and he literally just traced it. And he did it with his thick line art style. He was getting called out for it. So,
oh, damn.
Yeah. So like the artists were all
something that really kind of fucks you up in the art world if you're literally tracing other people's art.
Yeah, it stays with you. It certainly does.
Yeah, I can. I'd be like getting called out for not writing your own shit, like having somebody else write your stuff, or you stole songs from some other fucking lesser known artists. Yeah,
it happens. I mean, in some cases, it's just a happy coincidence. Like, for instance, there's that movie called The Raid. It was like the Taiwanese action film. Yeah. And then there was that big budget Hollywood movie Dredd, based on the Judge Dredd movies. It's literally the exact same story. It's the exact same story. The only difference is what one's a bunch of like a SWAT team going into like an apartment complex, and then there's gangster members and shit ensues. And the other one's a big budget one where it's like the judges, which is like these military cops going around killing people. It's very similar. I'd say watch both movies back to back. They're both good movies. But because of the plagiarism thing, there was never any more Judge Dredd movies, even though it did well and people wanted more. Nah, we're not getting any more.
Bad.
The rumor is there is another Dredd movie in the works. I don't know how far along it is. I know the actors, they all want to come back. They all enjoy it because they're all big Dredd fans. So it's like the actor who played him.
And I assume you're not talking about the Stallone version of Judge Dredd, right? But the other one?
No. Yeah, I think it was 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, people want that Dredd. They want that Dredd
that
back.
One was fucking brutal.
Love that movie. It was great. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I gotta go get some water, so I'll be right back.
Right on. I'm just looking at that picture of the Shad man. It's just so fucking sad. Oh.
That is pretty funny though, dude.
It's fucked up. It's both at the same time. Well, that's why, comedy, you have to be a little subversive to really, be into comedy. You gotta appreciate that is fucked up and hilarious. Man, I can't fucking stop with the Legos, man.
Dude.
I keep buying more Legos. I gotta stop. I bought an RV set. I made like a little like $15 Lego RV now.
Ah, damn, dude.
But the side opens up, and you can take the roof off, and the little Lego mom has a little Lego baby that she carries around with her.
That's fucking great, dude.
Do you know they make Lego baby characters that are like just miniature versions of like the Lego people? It's fucking adorable and slightly disturbing at the same time.
Yeah, I've never seen that before, but that's fucking great.
Yeah, I wish I had a. What do you call it? Fucking wow! How am I not able to think of the thing that makes it so you can broadcast video? Webcam. A fucking webcam. I wish I had a working webcam. The thing that's interesting that I don't remember from when I was a kid and I played with Legos is the thing where you have a door that opens up and slides out and the you can pull the roof off to kind of get in and play with the stuff on the Legos. That's kind of new. But all the different Lego sets have little things that do something like that. Whether it's in the Minecraft, Minecraft has TNT blocks that blow shit up. I don't know if you've ever played it or not, but that's kind of common knowledge. But a lot of the Minecraft sets have little things that you hit a lever and it makes it look like a TNT box blew up and knocked a wall over or some shit. So it's kind of fun. Or they have little there's a set of Minecraft Legos where there's little bees in it. And there's a little thing that you turn on the side that makes the little bees on the top of the set once it's built go around in a circle they're just flying around.
Okay.
All right.
And I'm not at all trying to justify how much money I've spent on Legos at this point.
I don't think you have anything to worry about. Hobbies are hobbies.
Yeah.
Don't fucking get me started on me and my Transformers.
Oh. I used to do that shit when I was a kid. I fucking had so many Transformers and G.I. Joes when I was a kid. Those were my two favorites. I even had a bunch of He-Man dolls for a while. Because they were 5-6 times the size of the fucking G.I. Joes.
Right. for me, I grew up in the '90s, and so like the Transformer show then was Beast Wars, and I love Beast Wars, and I tried my best to get some of the toys, but I didn't have enough money at the time, and when Christmas came around, no one had any idea what anything was. I just said I want this, this, and this. My mom would be like, "What the hell is a Cheetor?" She wouldn't know. She heard Transformers and she just grabbed whatever had the Beast Wars name on it.
The two favorites I remember from when I was collecting Transformers as a kid was I had one where the Transformer turned into a boombox, and a littler Transformer would turn into a tape and then go in the boombox.
Soundwave, dude.
That was Soundwave. Yes, that one I had. That was very like cool. And then I had one where it was like 5 or 6 little cars, and then they transform into little people, or they transform and you put them together into one big Transformer.
Yeah, it was like Transformer. Yeah, weren't they like I think it was like construction equipment or something, right?
No, this one was cars, but they also had construction equipment ones too, like that.
Okay, yeah. I had that one, dude.
There's a few. They're called combiners, and there's a few of them. There was Constructicons. They would become Devastator. I don't know. There was one where it was just cars. I don't remember who that guy was. There was another one
I had was the one where it was just cars.
Yeah, there was another one where they were animals and they became Predaking. And then there was the Dinobots. They're all a bunch of combiners.
Well, I think also the one Dates was talking about, the construction equipment one. There was definitely a guy like that with construction equipment.
He's one of the more popular ones because also like when he's all combined, he's fucking huge.
Yeah, and like some of them would like shoot shit out of their hands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, it wasn't G.I. Joe. I had one thing where it was like these little guys, little plastic figures, almost like the Green Army Men, but like a little more well put together and better like defined. But the thing that you got with those was you get a bunch of those, and then you'd go buy like the spaceship that they went with, or like the planet, like different like little sort of things to play with them in. So you buy like little like different like a spaceship set that they could go on the spaceship, or it was a trip. There was a lot of really cool toys when I was a kid, man. I don't see the kind of toys they used to have anymore. You could get real creative with some of that shit.
Well, with toys, you'd have to have a bizarre concept, and that bizarre concept would sell the toy. Like, you think of, like, Ninja Turtles. That was fucking huge. We're talking turtles that are ninjas.
Or like the concept... Etch-a-Sketch and, like, Light Brights and
Yeah. I remember those. And
all the board games. Also wacky-ass board games, man.
Yeah. I think like some of the board games were really popular. I know there was one that was like essentially Play-Doh, where you would make the figure out of the mold, and that's how you get your thing. And you play the game, and then it was like there's all these traps where if you go in, and they fucking destroy your little guy. It felt like fucking like it's. They should call it Saw the game.
Yeah,
it's like I want to play a game.
Yeah, some of that stuff got dark, man. If you didn't think of it, like if you really thought about it, it got kind of dark.
Yeah,
so I never had one, but they had the little kitchen thing where it was like a light bulb in a fucking plastic box that would cook stuff.
Oh, Easy Bake Oven?
Yeah, they had the Easy Bake Oven for girls. And then eventually they were like, little boys want to do this shit too, so they made like a creepy crawly version.
Creepy Crawlers. There was an actual TV show that went along with it.
Yeah, you would make like little like spiders and worms and shit. It was so fucking hilarious.
I had one of those.
I wanted one of those, and I'm so glad I didn't, because I'm sure the stuff tasted like ass.
Well, you're not supposed to eat it. It's essentially like a type of it's not glue. It's like a soft plastic.
Oh, I know the Easy Bake Oven ones you were supposed to eat. I didn't know the Creepy Crawlers ones you weren't supposed to eat. I'm glad I never got one, because I was always under the impression you fucking ate that stuff.
Well, they did come out with another one, but it wasn't an oven based thing. What it was is that you essentially you put it was like think of it kind of like a Jello, like a gelatin, and so you put them into the mixture, and then you put that into the mold. You wait a few minutes until the crystals or whatever harden, and then it's like a little gummy thing that you can eat. They had those. They had worms. They had bugs. They had all the other kind of stuff. 'Cause it was meant to be like that, but yeah, it's not supposed to be cooked or something. You just leave it in there and then you eat it. So it's like a candy maker. I never had one of those. I always looked at them and thought they looked gross. I didn't want to do that. I don't think that lasted very long. But I think they still make easy bake ovens.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they still make the easy bake ovens and the ones for guys too.
I don't think the ones for guys, but the ones for girls probably. Yeah. But in the way of toys for kids, I've learned a lot more about like toys since I started collecting these Beast Wars. Since I heard about them coming back, because that's the only reason I started getting them. Because I never had the money to get Beast Wars. Now that I can, because like the only way I get those old toys is you can go to conventions, and sometimes they cost a lot of money, and a lot of times they always come back because they're very used, so the joints are fucking loose. So I've been slowly building up my collection, but the other problem is that back then a lot of toys that came out were not made with the best plastic, and as a result they're very flimsy and they break fairly easily.
Yeah, no, your toys had like a shelf life back then. Yeah, no, they were good for like till the next Christmas. You know, or usually maybe like more like half that, just depending on how rough you were with your toys and which ones you were talking about.
Well, and that's the thing. Like
G.I. Joes would last you until about the next year when it was time to get the new set of G.I. Joes.
Well, back then, like a lot of those G.I. Joes were put together with elastics on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what would break.
Yeah. Or if it didn't break, then the elastic would dry out, and it would just disintegrate.
Yeah, the He-Man ones were the same way. They were all held together with rubber bands inside, if I remember correctly.
I don't know about the He-Man one. I think those were hard plastics because they had minimal. Because part of the thing that was great about G.I. Joes is because of the elastic, they can do more things. Like you can pose them in a lot of different ways. He-Man, what I think was just the hard plastic, so that way like the arms moved up and down.
The He-Man one's breaking and having. I could swear. You know what? I could be remembering it incorrectly too.
It could be that the plastic on the inside was of a weaker joint, and then those could have broken off. I mean, it can happen. I'm not saying that it can't. It can. Yeah. But right now, like I feel sorry for kids nowadays because if you go to the toy section in a Walmart, most toys are not made for kids; they're made for adults. The Beast Wars stuff that I get, it's really good, very expensive. And highly articulated and everything. And these are the kind of toys.
The kids these days are into fucking like computer games and video games. I don't think they give a shit about like fucking figures anymore.
Well, and you'd be surprised.
It's all about the
thing that gets a lot of the kids, or at least I have two nephews, and the thing that gets them, dinosaurs. Dinosaurs is the main thing.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, no, that's really good.
And they just recently watched the Kong vs. Godzilla movie, and they fucking love Godzilla. It's like Godzilla, everything. They love it because it's again a giant dinosaur. So that's probably it. And if you go like whenever I go to Walmart, they have toys from Jurassic Park, like the last movie. That last movie was like what 3-4 years ago, and it still sells. It's still very popular.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, and that movie was
about that. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, and like for little girls, it's the same thing. You just sell dolls. It doesn't even have to be tied to a TV show or a product. They'll buy dolls no matter what. Girls are easy. They just get dolls. It's the boys that are more complicated because they'll either want military and stuff. But right now, there's no action cartoon shows out there. Kids aren't given action stuff. And a lot of stuff that we do see nowadays are just remakes of other shows that's not designed for kids. Like, for instance, they had that new Kevin Smith He-Man show. Let me tell you, that show's not for kids. And even if I was a cool dad, I wouldn't let him watch that because He-Man is an awful show right now. Is that Kevin Smith show? Don't get me started. It is fucking terrible. But it's still a popular enough brand that they re-released old He-Man toys in modern day plastic and stuff, so it's not going to break on you as easily.
Yeah.
And the only ones who are buying those, guys in their 30s and 40s, the people who grew up with that stuff, like these Beast Wars toys that I'm getting.
Which is why it's hilarious that he shot himself in the foot by alienating as fucking many fans as possible from the old show.
Yeah, that wasn't smart. That certainly wasn't smart. But I've come to realize that Kevin Smith had virtually nothing to do with the show. He's there in name only. I mean, they said he wrote a couple episodes. I think he's just there for name recognition. That's it. I don't think he's there for any other reason.
It's become sort of like he's become cachet. He's like the right name to put on nerd shit. They were hoping that he would sell it without people thinking that it was going to be SJWE.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is it worked. And then people saw it and were like, "Oh, fuck you, you lying fat fuck." Like,
yeah, people didn't care for it, and I'm not surprised. I'm not happy with how He-Man show turned out. I was hoping it'd be better, especially considering it's from Powerhouse Animation, the guys who did Castlevania. Because Castlevania was phenomenal. I love that show.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually rewatched it. I've rewatched it a couple of times now.
It's not hard.
Like the first time through,
I
was mostly just listening. Yeah. Well, the time I was mostly listening to it while I was doing other shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I kind of got what was going on, and I really enjoyed it. But there was a lot of shit I missed.
I mean,
damn.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I rewatched it.
I'm gonna have to. You guys are making me want to go back and rewatch it, and obviously, it's like that's not a hard one to find.
Like, I think
the fucking fight scenes are fantastic. I love the fight scenes and that shit.
I think people were
just amazing. I love the art
it's really
style.
good.
I love the stories. You know, like the characters and the story are so well done. It's just such a fun show.
Mm-hmm. I think the part of the reason for it is, of course, like you have Warren Ellis, who's the writer. He's great with dialogue. Let me tell you, some of the dialogue there is phenomenal. Like I rewatched the scene where Isaac is having a conversation with the pirate captain. I'm like, it's just a conversation. Man, it's a really good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought just two guys sitting and talking shouldn't be as entertaining as it is. It fucking was. And like that's what tells you that it was done by a good writer. Because it's Warren Ellis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of Isaac shit, like him interacting with that night creature, that bug night creature. Pretty interesting. A lot of shit with Isaac that's fucking. Yeah. I like that character.
Isaac was the breakout character. It's like I looked into him. Like what was his origins in the original game? He's a very like generic villain, anime villain kind of guy. He's not that interesting. Also, he's some white ginger. So they made him like a black Muslim. Like, okay. And I thought, okay, this is like a diversity thing. And, dude, it does not fucking matter. Doesn't matter. This guy, as a character, he's so fucking cool.
I love the Castlevania stuff is just I didn't even care about the video game. Because I barely played it as a kid. I played maybe like, a couple of times and played maybe like first, second level at the most. I never owned that game. That was never one that I got to own and play a lot. So I went in there just without any preconceptions, and it blew me away. Like the show for sure. I didn't even realize until you guys were talking about it now that it was based on the video game.
Yeah, honestly, I only really played through the first two, like the ones on the original Nintendo. So there wasn't a huge amount of story in those ones. I'm only now playing through Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. So they definitely expanded a lot of shit that I was completely unaware of.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot of things that they took liberty with because the game is different. I never had the luxury of playing the game because it was just never available. Like back then, I would rent video games, and the store, because we lived on a farm, and the local gas station would have games that you could rent, and they never had any Castlevania. Also, I think it was like a deeply religious. It was probably a deeply religious town, so they probably wouldn't want something like Castlevania. It's like that's too, like satanistic or whatever.
No.
Too evil.
A lot of the later ones were on the fucking handheld too, so that might be another reason why you didn't see a lot of them. Like they're on the DS or the fucking maybe the Game Boy. I don't know, but a lot of them were on like the DS and shit like that.
Yeah, I never got the opportunity to play them. I kind of wish I did though. And part of me kind of wants to go back. I know they recently re-released it not too long ago, but we'll see.
You could probably find most, if not all, of the games on Sims, though. Like, you don't have to go buy anything and fucking spend all the money.
Well, I mean, part of the reason why I want to spend money is because you vote with your dollars, and if you show them that there's interest, then they'll have a reason to go back to it.
I agree with that, but if, like, it's re-releasing the original fucking game from like 30 years ago, it's like, come on, dude, like there's a certain point in which you gotta stop fucking mining that property. Well, like, you just, come on, man, how many times do people gotta buy this shit?
Well, there's a couple reasons why they do that. One of which is because they're low on funds, and if they re-release the game, that'll pay for a new one. So, like for example, when the first I think it was like 4 episodes, because at that time there was only the 4 for the season of Castlevania came out, there was nothing out. Nothing new Castlevania. The only thing that was remotely Castlevania was like a pachinko game in Japan. And that was it. And it wasn't even really like a game. It was just some visuals you can see while playing pachinko. That's all that they had. And then the next season came out and they still didn't have anything. So they released it is like an ultimate collection kind of a game, and it's doing well. Like it still sells well even after the last season came out. So then that might be an incentive for a new game. But you also have to remember that the original director or creator or whatever of Castlevania, like Konami wasn't listening to him, so he went out and made a new Castlevania game. But it wasn't Castlevania. It was like something of blood or whatever. I don't know. It came out on Kickstarter, and that's how you can get it. So that was it was a Castlevania-like game.
Yeah, I can't call it Castlevania obviously because Konami, I'm sure, has the rights or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, that's fucking cool.
And Nacho was saying he can't wait for the next Castlevania series to come out. I don't know if they're gonna make one. I pray that this He-Man show isn't gonna fucking kill the company. It probably won't, but my God.
What show is gonna kill the company?
So, Powerhouse Animation is a relatively new studio. They did the animation for Castlevania.
Oh, okay.
And then I think they did a couple commercials, but then after that they came out with like that He-Man show.
Oh, well, the He-Man might fucking sink them. Yeah, good point.
I think they did one other show, but I never watched it. But yeah, it's not doing well. It's one of the most hated shows out there, and that's only part 1. Part 2, I think it's been pushed back. Like maybe they're going to change some stuff around because part 1 was so hated. You killed He-Man twice in the first half. What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Although I don't know that you blame the animation company because from what I've heard, I haven't actually watched it. The one positive I've heard is that the animation was badass on the, you know what I mean? So the animation company will probably be all right. I don't know if they're still going to be somewhat associated with the fucking
they probably got paid
bullshit
before it went out. They're probably not getting a whole lot off the back end.
Well, I don't know. Like I don't know how it works with Netflix because they keep their information pretty tight. Because there's always like you get the first half, and then the second half you make if the show is good. Like if people keep rewatching it, then that's more money that you get. It's the same thing with like Black Widow, because when that movie came out, the actor gets residuals, so like they get a percentage off of every ticket sale and merchandise. But then when Black Widow didn't come out out in theater, or rather it was on in theaters and on streaming, and so that cut into the revenue.
Black Widow was a terrible fucking movie, and no one should have paid for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't. I was thinking of calling up my buddies, hey, you want to see a movie? But nah, I knew this movie was going to be terrible. The only good superhero movie this summer was Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, isn't it like Scarlett Johansson Disney or whoever? Because they released it on HBO Now or whatever, and in the theaters.
Disney Plus, and yeah. That pretty much ate up.
Disney's going to do that with the one in the 5 rings of whatever it is, the next one they put out.
Shang-Chi and the 10 rings.
10 rings, yeah.
Whatever.
That's going to be released the same way, so that they're hoping they can use that in court and be like, no, see, anything would have tanked. They're not going to release that one online. They're just going to release that one in theaters, apparently, and because they all know it's going to tank.
Well, and part of the problem is that when she made the deal with Disney, because that was a couple years ago, before the whole coronavirus stuff happened, and it got delayed. So the whole Disney Plus thing, that wasn't part of her contract. So, because that's new. And if it was just in theaters, then yeah, okay, the movie sucked. All right, fine, whatever. I see Nacho is very good. Yes, I saw your comment. They're coming out with the new Castlevania. I hope that'll be good. Okay. And truth be told, they need to get Warren Ellis to come back. His writing is top notch. I'm worried though, because I don't know if you guys heard, but Warren Ellis, because he's been in the comic industry for a long time, and a lot of people, like a lot of women in particular, they want to get into his pants because they think that he'll help them make a career.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's what happens if you're good and famous. Like, you don't even have to be rich; you just have to be famous and be well connected. And they'll think, oh, hey, if I sleep with this guy, he'll get me,
with these other guys that can get me a good career.
Exactly, but he knows that's what they're doing, so he just plays the game, and then of course he never returns the call.
Yeah.
The guy is a fucking savage. He's like, you want to try and screw him over just to get your career? I'll screw you over too. So really,
I kind of actually that sounds kind of nice.
It's it's fucking awesome. I know, right? But he's been in this for a while, and plus he's from the UK, so he doesn't really give a rat's ass about these fucking American thoughts. So he'll so that's essentially what it is. So a bunch of these women come out and say that he used his clout to get into my pants. It's like, nah, bitch, you tried to get in my pants. Anyway, so that's the shit they were trying to do.
Communist propaganda lie. I did something bad, so you did something bad, is what I'm going to say. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's always the exact opposite of whatever they said. They were trying to get in his pants for the money, and it didn't pan out, and now they're mad, so they're saying he tried to get in their pants because he was famous. Fucking exactly. It's the most obnoxious fucking thing.
Exactly. So that's essentially what they tried to do to him, and he got back at them. And now they're all they're trying to bring it up and try to do character assassination on social media that Warren Ellis is a fucking rapist, and because he used his clout to fucking rape women or have his way with them. That's essentially what they did. And the guy's not fucking caving. He's not caving. He's not giving them any of this bullshit. He's standing up for himself. And I thought, great. But as a result of this, he now can't get any work at any of the big comic industries. And so it's ruined his career. Now, granted, in comics, if he wanted, but see, the Powerhouse Animation and those guys, they stuck with him. Because usually when that happens, they people they disassociate, they take his name off the title or whatever. But Powerhouse didn't do that. The last season of Castlevania, which is when all this started up there, they stuck their guns. They kept his name proud and up there. Damn. Good for you guys. Now, if they keep that going and they do this other Castlevania show and they bring him back, is this guy, like, look at the dialogue and all the character interaction and all this shit. That show is fucking fantastic. You bring him back for another Castlevania, guaranteed hit. And no one's going to give a rat's ass about the controversy because no one pays attention to it anyways. So long as they bring him back, I'll watch.
Damn.
That's what matters to me right now.
That's actually kind of nice. It's nice to hear that, like, you know, there are some companies that still just will, like, no, this guy's really fucking good at what he does. And we're not gonna we're not gonna just let that go and fucking pretend that he's evil now because of whatever bullshit accusations and fucking nonsense.
I think part of the reason was that the guy who was like the main architect, the producer, I think his name's Avi something or other. I can't remember his name, but he's this guy. He's a fan. He apparently, I think he's got some money, and he did a series of fan films. He calls it the Bootleg Universe. He did like an R-rated, high action, bloody Power Rangers short film. He actually got good actors for it. It's called Power/Rangers. Really good. I always recommend it. He became so popular that he ended up being the producer for this whole Castlevania show. So I think he's been also dragged through the mud as well in Hollywood.
Well, yeah, but if you actually have talent and you can actually do good writing or put together like actual entertaining stuff, you know, then you know, people are going to want to pay you money, and sooner or later you're going to find somebody who's going to want to capitalize that, you know, or you're going to be able to figure out how to sell it yourself, you know.
Yep.
I think people need to be less afraid of being fired by big mega corporations and like more about actually making good products that people want, you know, like obviously in the entertainment industry, but also in just other industries altogether, you know. Like maybe we want a t-shirt that lasts more than 6 months before it falls apart in the washer.
Yeah.
Or you know, people want a barbecue grill that lasts more than one summer. Because there's all sorts of shitty, cheap shit out there, but you know, I've seen a lot of these companies come up and they get advertised a lot on like right-wing media type sites. But it's because they seem like actual decent quality products in a lot of cases. Like it's the one you can buy that won't just explode.
and like what you were saying earlier, I mean, if you make a good product, even if it's, let's say, like a fan made product, I mean, people will want to work with you because it shows that you're good at making stuff. Which is what happened with that Power Rangers short. Here's the 28-second clip of his next project. Captain Laserhawk. I think it's an original, but don't quote me on that. It might be based on a video game. This one's going to be animated by a French studio. So no Hollywood involvement. So there we go. And let me tell you, the French, they've come up with some really fascinating stuff lately. So look out for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like anime is kicked off because, you know, it's not American and they're not doing anything other than just telling fun stories. So I would imagine if the French studios are going to follow suit, they're very likely to find a big audience.
Well, and just so you know, a bunch of French studios apparently paid a bunch of animators to move to Japan for a couple of months to learn about Japanese animation, and a bunch of studios agreed to teach them. So don't be surprised. Yeah, this has been going on.
It'll really depend on whether or not they're actually telling interesting stories, though, because just copying the animation style is only going to create like a short fad. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going to last. People aren't going to have lasting interest unless what they're doing is telling stories that people genuinely get into and want to hear more of.
They probably will. like the French, like we always rag on about the French, but let me tell you, the French comic book industry is fucking huge. Their stuff is phenomenal.
I've never gotten into French comic books, but I've seen some French films that are pretty fucking amazing.
Well, like what I'm sure you've all heard of like Tintin.
Nope.
No, really? The comic book Tintin back in the day? Never mind. The French stuff.
I was never a comic book guy.
Oh, okay.
Though.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it either, to be honest.
Oh, never.
The name sounds familiar, but I'm thinking.
Well, there was a cartoon back in the 90s, based around the comics. That's okay. I mean, what I'm saying is, like, don't be surprised if you see more French stuff in the future.
That sounds, promising. I'm hoping.
Well, you may have seen some. I don't know if you've ever seen that anthology show, Love, Death, and Robots. No.
Sorry, I muted my microphone for a second. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. I before I got off of Netflix, it was one of those things that was on my list of stuff to watch.
Exactly.
Oh, Tintin! I remember there was a big movie fad about that came out not long ago.
Yeah, that movie didn't do as well as they thought it would. But
yeah, I remember seeing a lot of advertising, but I'd never seen the original show and wasn't a fan of. I didn't know the comics even existed, so I just wasn't, into it. And I assume that's probably the problem for a lot of people. Probably that for the same reasons.
I grew up in like farms and stuff. We only got 3 channels, and one of the channels aired the Tintin cartoon. It was better than nothing. Because Saturday morning, all the people with cable, they're watching shows like Transformers and Power Rangers, and I get Tintin and Inspector Gadget.
I like that your big selling point is it was better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. Let me tell you, I loved cartoons, I loved comic books, but if you're on a farm, you only get 3 channels. I mean, there's very few in the way of cartoons that you can watch. And Saturday morning...
So instead of a food desert, you're in an entertainment desert.
Oh, dude, it was bad. I couldn't stand it. Like I said, we had Tintin, Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget I fucking loved as a kid.
See, I watched it so often, I fucking hated it. I like, because it was on all the time.
It was definitely like a show amongst many shows. Yeah, so I definitely had a lot of other options, too.
Like, I memorized every episode because there was nothing else to watch.
Inspector Gadget.
And now it's making a slight resurgence, although I pray...
I think there was like a movie at some point where they tried to like revive it. I didn't even bother watching the movie. It looked so fucking dumb.
Part of me wishes I worked in the animation industry, because like I could tell you guys, like tell them like this is how you do a remake. If you want to remake it, this is how you do it. You don't do that. Don't do that. If you insist on CGI animation, that's fine, but you're gonna do it this way.
Well, Inspector Gadget was a goofy show. That was kind of the whole selling point, really. Like, I mean, oddly as it may sound.
I think
it was just like, it was this goofy, silly show you watched in between the funner, like, better shows. Maybe not for you, but for the rest of us with cable.
Oh my god. Like, I don't know. Whenever I go see my friend, he talk about all these cartoons. I'm like, I don't get to watch it. I live in a fucking farm.
Oh, yeah, and that's before you could record things really easily, so it's not like he could just be like, oh, I've got them all saved on my DVR. Come on and...
No, well, that's when we had VCRs.
Yeah,
and
but
so
that was not the same as DVR. It was so much harder to record on a VCR.
Like back in that time, I would have I have VCR, and I'll give I'll take a couple of blank tapes and I'll give it to a friend of mine. I say, could you record some of those cartoons? And the problem is that my best friend at the time, he had ADD. He never remembered. Never remembered.
No.
And then he ended up recording other shit on tapes. And
At least get you some of those blurry late night channels where if you watch long enough, you might see a nipple.
No.
Oh, that son of a bitch! It couldn't get you the cartoons you wanted.
No, it was fucking awful. It was awful. And it was terrible because, like, okay, we eventually moved into the city. My mom had to go to university to study how to do stuff. So in the city, we finally got cable. I thought, this is fucking fantastic. And then we found out, okay, well, she's done her education. She needs to go out and get work, and she's going to move out to the town. And I went, oh, we're going to move out to towns. And I went, okay, town, whatever. It's like, okay, but we're going to get a little acreage outside the town. So, oh, fuck. We're back to 3 channels again? No! I thought we were finally past this. I was so fucking mad. And then I move out later on. I get older. I move in with my girlfriend. We move into the city. And then we fall apart. And I'm like, ah, fuck. I gotta move back in with my mom. And then we get internet.
It's not even the prospect of not having any more like pussy and like all the heartbreak that goes with that. It's, damn it, I'm back to 3 channels.
Exactly. And on top of all that, the internet quality we did get out in the farm, it was fucking terrible. It's like you can watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos if you have to, and then most of that was reserved because we'd look at how-tos if we needed to fix something.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because that was metered, right?
Yep.
Yeah, way back in the day, I'd forgotten. We had a certain amount of data we were allowed to use, and then if we went over, we got in trouble.
Like, I think the safest bet right now is to move out to the farm or move out to the country because it's better than living in the city. With that said, dude, internet is fucking horrendous. Dude.
Well, that reminds me of my parents' attempt to... Because, you know, our parents, we all 3, I would say, probably grew up when... like video games were just kind of becoming a thing, and so suddenly there was this big push to keep people from getting, like, you know, playing too many video games or watching too much TV was a big thing. Like now nobody gives a shit anymore. But we got put on a system of beans where each bean represented like 15 minutes of TV or like internet or video game time. And we had to do chores to earn the beans so we could, like, watch the things that we wanted to watch or do the things we wanted to do or play the games we wanted to play. It was the weirdest system. So we would literally be, like, collecting these fucking lima beans. And here's the weird part. Me and my brother were both in, like... We were old enough that it blows my mind that we never tried to fucking buck the system by going down to, like, the corner store and buying beans.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've always kicked myself for this. We never went and just bought a bag of lima beans that were the same color and size as the ones we used for TV, and then just snuck a couple in every now and again, you know? Like, just to get a little extra time.
I'm sure the parents would figure it out eventually.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, you should try. You know, it's...
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Do you remember downloading porn pictures where it took, like, you know, 20 minutes to get just, like, one picture?
Yeah. Yeah. See... I didn't know anything about, like, deleting, like, the history or something. So, like, back when so, like, for instance, if I wanted to look up, cause back then, when we were doing the internet stuff, when we first moved into the city, and my mom had to go to college and stuff, we had, the dial-up internet, and I would bring up, like, I would go on there, and I look up for pictures of, like, stuff I was interested in, like Dragon Ball Z or Beast Wars or something, and then I would, like, save the pictures onto a floppy disk.
Yeah.
And like I'd relook at the pictures and all that, and just because I like to. And so my mom she would buy us, like, some floppy disks because they were fairly cheap. Well, that's where I stored a bunch of the pictures I would get. But here's the thing: like, back then, I still remember they like, the pictures wouldn't all be like one big picture. They'd be a bunch of little pictures, and the reason for that is because it loads faster, I guess.
Yeah.
So like I'll go
sense.
on there, like I'll go on to Playboy.com, and that was before they asked, "Are you an adult?" That kind of stuff. So it's just all the boobs would be right there, and so obviously I'd take it and then I'd start saving the pictures. Wow, that's when I learned how come I'm only saving like one section or here, and that's when I realized about the whole. They break it down. So it was easier to find pictures of anime and stuff because with anime it was all one picture. But it's fucking Playboy.
I would wait until no one was home and I would print the pictures out.
Well, if you run
a really nice color printer, and so we're always running out of ink, and my parents would be so baffled because I didn't know how to delete history. There was no history of any of what I did. See, the problem I would put them in a binder and just keep them like under my bed in a fucking binder.
See, the problem with that is that the like my mom would use the printer for her school stuff, so I couldn't do that.
Mm.
And on top of all that, I mean, like printers back in the day, they didn't have much in the way of ink, so you could only print off like maybe one picture at most. And even if you're doing black and white stuff, like drawings or whatever,
there was no black and white stuff for me. No, it was all color.
See, the rabbit hole was I'll look at Dragon Ball Z stuff, and then I might see some anime pictures. And I thought, okay, this anime stuff's pretty interesting. It's neat. That's where it gets you because eventually you're going to find hentai, and hentai is the porn.
Yep.
And
but the cool thing, regular hardcore pornography. I wasn't looking at hentai.
Well, but I had that whole collection of floppy disks, and on those floppy disks is where I would put the pictures. Now, the porn pictures, they'd always come in patches. You couldn't get that. But hentai, that was always a full picture. Right-click, save the disk, you're good to go. That was the idea. You could save a full photo, opposed to going to like a porn site or whatever, you only get parts of photos.
Yeah.
It's like, it's less work. On top of all that, it was pictures of like naked anime girls, and I didn't know that was a thing. So.
Oh yeah, no, I mean at that age, any kind of porn is good. You know, if it's drawn or pictures or whatever.
Now here's the thing. Now I had those little discs that I would use, and my brother also had some discs that he would use. But to make it different, like mine were color coded, so I had yellows and greens and all that stuff. And so I'm like, okay, this is where I put my Dragon Ball. This is where I put my porn. This is where I put my comic books. So that's where I'd store all that. And my brother, he just had straight up black. He was given labels so he can draw pictures on them. He knows what's on the discs. Well, my brother decided he doesn't like labels, or he doesn't like black, so he took a bunch of mine and he put them into his. And I'm like, oh dear fucking God.
Oh no.
Please, and my brother, he's a tattletale. He's gonna rat me out.
Oh, so like, you fucking hate that.
You little fucking shit. Where are the discs? It's like, I didn't want all black, I want color. It's like, fuck you, where are the discs? He wouldn't tell me.
Like a fucking scene where like the fucking bad guy caught the American spy and they're trying to torture the shit out of him, you know? Like,
oh,
you will give me the discs, Indiana Jones.
I was like, man. You're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you fucking talk. And of course, my mom, being the feminist that she is, was very upset with me.
God.
Because she'd eventually figure it out.
Giving a shit, thankfully.
Like, yeah, well, good. Well, see, my mom, she would, and she'd fucking lose her shit on me. And I'm like, yeah. Well, I look back to that stuff. I'm like, I should have just said fuck you.
You know, I think my parents actually at one point when I was in like just the first year of high school or something got me a subscription to Playboy or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're dealing with young boys.
You know, we recognize that you're getting older and you're curious, so we think this is an appropriate, you know, thing for you to be checking out at this age was Playboy.
See, like, I wish my mom was that single parent, okay, but also feminist. So she's like, it's degrading towards women.
Yeah,
that you see that
was a big thing at that time.
Yeah, and so she'd say all that stuff, and I'm like, oh gosh, I feel guilty for this, and so that was the upbringing. with that said, around that same time, because we had cable and there's a bunch of these new channels came out. Like we had the Canadian version of Sci-Fi Channel. It was called Space. We had an all cartoon channel. It was called Teletoon. And it was on the very first day that it came up there during around 10 o'clock on a Friday. They aired anime movies, and the very first movie they aired on the first day was Ninja Scroll. Now I started watching that because I had a TV in my room, and I thought, okay, cool. And then they're airing Ninja Scroll. They have all this blood and shit and violence. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And my TV in my room was small, so I say to my brother, "Hey, let's go out and see it on the big TV." And it's in the living room. Well, right next to the living room, facing the opposite direction, is my mom, and she's on the computer. She's doing schoolwork. She said, "Just keep it." She's saying, "Just keep it down. You're all good." And so, like, okay, like, cause my mom doesn't care about the blood and gore and shit. And so, okay, cool. And I'm gonna enjoy myself. But the thing is with Ninja Scroll is that there's a very famous rape scene. And that shit happened. My blood ran cold. I was terrified. I had the remote in my hand. My hand was shaking, and I don't know, like, my mom's right there. I'm gonna get in fucking trouble. And I'm more worried about my brother, and he's just as scared as I am because we're both guilty. We're both watching the same thing.
Yeah, it's too late. It came on and you didn't immediately turn it off.
I didn't know it was going to happen. I didn't know.
Yeah, but like it takes you a few minutes to like recognize, or no, not minutes, but moments to recognize what you're seeing. And in that few moments, you're like, I've already gone past the ability to claim innocence. I'm too far in now. Like, I'm already fucked. I can't just turn it off now. I gotta just hope I don't get caught, you know. Exactly.
And I'm like, I got the remote in my hand, and I'm like going over. And then when the scene finally passes, and I finally start calming down, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this in my room. And I say to my brother, "You're welcome to come to watch." Fucking Christ, what the hell was this? Oh, it was fucking terrifying. With that said, that's my memory of Ninja Scroll, and I still say it's one of the best anime movies out there. It's fucking great.
Wow.
And yeah, I definitely enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That guy went on to do a bunch of other movies, and they were all great. There'd be a bunch of anime movies on the one channel. On the Sci-Fi Channel, they also aired anime on Saturday nights. So, hell, you get to see an anime movie on Friday and Saturday nights. But Space would only air science fiction ones. So you get movies like Dominion Tank Police, Venus Wars, all surprisingly good movies. Well, maybe not so much Venus War. That's okay movie.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Well, I think I don't know if it was the 90s or so when there would be a bunch of movies that studios would make because they thought sci-fi was really big, so they made these big budget science fiction movies, and some were hits and some were not. I think that was also around time. I think that was also around the time they made Akira, and that was, of course, a mega hit. So
yeah, that fucking was. I think everybody heard of that one.
Yeah,
that's also one of the 3 other anime movies I've seen.
Yeah. Ooh, good anime I'm watching right now that I didn't think would be good is The Duke of Death and His Maid.
I've heard of that one.
And it's a guy who, as a child, was cursed by a witch, and anything he touches dies. Like no exceptions. It's gonna die.
Oh.
And then he's got a maid who's in love with him, and that he's also in love with, and then it's just like a weird. I don't know, man. It's a really weird romantic comedy kind of thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting though, because it's like it's really hard to tell what it's going to do. It never zigs when it should zag, kind of. It zigs when you think it's going to zag. You can't really predict the direction it's going to go in.
That's good.
But see, I would definitely recommend it.
A lot of anime tends to go in very bizarre directions, but that's because they want to try something new, and I think that's great. That's the way it should be. Because if you keep doing the same thing over, although granted, anime does tend to do the same thing over and over again, depending on what it is. Like right now, it's the isekai.
God,
back in like
is isekai now.
I know, and it gets very tiresome very soon, or very very fast. Although it was kind of like that back in like the early 2000s when everything was mecha. I was so fucking done with mecha by the mid 2000s. It's like it's fucking everywhere. Is it really that necessary?
Yeah.
That's why
it'll pass. Sooner or later it'll all pass, and then it'll just be like nobody cares anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the same thing with like lewd anime stuff with the big boobs. Like sometimes they'll merge that. Although I think that's another side effect of the culture. When people aren't having sex, they're trying to get you to think about sex.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Because like I think it was like Japan's birth rates are so low that they'll be an endangered species in a couple generations. It's like, yeah, you guys need to start having sex. They've even gone so far as like to subsidize the like diapers, because everyone's always bitching about the price of diapers. Like, look, the government will literally pay for your diapers. Just fucking have sex. Just pop out kids.
Babies. You know, if Japan wants somebody to make babies, they can just send me over there. I'm totally down.
They won't.
As long as I'm not responsible for the upkeep of the babies.
They're essentially becoming an ethno state. They don't want to mix races. It's only Japanese. Like, let me tell you, there's plenty of guys
submissive genes, I swear. Oh God, can you fucking imagine?
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. It's the same thing over here. You know, we need to start having sex, although our government isn't trying to encourage people to do so. And to be fair, I mean, may want to wait like a year or so after all the fucking side effects of the vaccine comes in. We've come back to that. God damn it! I saw an article the other day talking about how unvaccinated sperm will be like the new currency, because people want to have kids, and you know, you can only really get done with unvaccinated sperm.
Oh damn, that would be kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the other thing when I was watching Alex Jones.
To a point where, like, you know, all the incels are like, I can now sell my sperm for money.
Yeah, it's gonna be a thing.
Oh man.
The only problem with that is that you're probably gonna have to do a lot of traveling. So like they're trying to say like, okay, if unvaccinated sperm is the way to go, you have to make sure you create the best product possible. So like for me, if I lose all the weight and I get in shape and I eat the right diets and all that, then of course the value is much higher. So then, you know, women will be like, yes, I will pay for you to come over to my neck of the woods and knock me up.
Yeah, they'll try to stop you though.
Oh, I'm sure they will, but
prostitution laws and stuff they'll try to come at you with.
Well, the thing is like with cryptocurrency now being a thing, that can actually, they can find a way to get around all that. And it's like,
you're right. Yeah, that's probably why they want to shut down cryptocurrency so fucking bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they do not like it.
I find it amusing that they think they can put laws in place to regulate something they can't fucking deal with. Like, they can't stop Bitcoin from being transferred or track it. So what the fuck do they think they're going to do with trying to regulate it? No one's going to report anything to them.
Well, and not only that, they don't get a cut. I mean, like for every dollar that you spend, they get some of that. Like you can't just.
That's why they wanted to do it. I get it, but like, there's just no way for them to do it. It's kind of like baffling as to why they even are bothering. They're only making it more popular because people are like, wait, they want to shut down Bitcoin, then I must really need to get some Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fucking yeah. Because I unlike every other digital currency, Bitcoin is the only one that just has nobody controls it. There is no sole person that controls it. It's completely dispersed. There's just nothing they can really do about it.
It's just like, I'll be rich, I'm unvaccinated. Yeah.
Oh, Nacho Dominant says you can just say you're filming adult videos. I hadn't thought of that. That's actually pretty brilliant.
Well, that's the excuse they say here in Canada, because prostitution is 100% legal. It's just illegal to buy it. And that's how they're saying, like, oh, yes, we're not stopping women from controlling their bodies.
Yeah. We're stopping men from buying it.
Exactly.
I picked up a hooker by accident once. That was really fucking awkward. She acted like she was hitching a ride, and then she fucking propositioned me on the way. She's like, hey, you want to go on a date? You know, like, it's so fucking... I'm just like, no, I had no idea this is what was going on. And she's like, oh, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm like, nah, you're not offending me. I just genuinely thought you were just hitching a ride. I'm really sorry. Like, I felt so bad.
I see gaming's in the chat. Hey, gaming. Yeah. The other thing I found out when I was listening to all those doctors talking about the vaccinated people, it's like best to stay away from them, because what it does to you, does to the body, it's not good. Like, I always thought to myself, okay, not bothering having kids with a vaccinated woman, all right, that sounds reasonable, but apparently just having sex with them, it's not safe. It's like a new type of STD. It's not safe to have sex with a vaccinated person. So that you gotta watch out for that.
Conspiracy theory stuff, man.
Well, part of the reason for that is because when you're having sex with someone, obviously there's a little bit of DNA exchanging from the kisses, with the sweating, exactly. And apparently, like, it's because
you can kiss all you want, and you won't share things like AIDS. So I don't think that's one of the things you have to worry about.
Probably, but we're talking like sex and
straight up sex, where there's like blood and other stuff can get involved, little tiny abrasions.
Exactly, all kinds of bodily fluids are involved when it comes to sex. So, yeah. I mean that can happen.
Preferably giving her a large injection.
Exactly, preferably.
Weird. I don't know the science behind it, so I can't say one way or the other. It just sounds kind of funky.
Exactly. So. Yeah.
No, Nacho. There is nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. And actually, Bump and Grind is a great blues song. There's a lot of different bands that did it. Definitely a fun one to look up. They would like throw out challenges to each other and shit too. Where like a band would do the song Bump and Grind, and then another band would be like, hey, check out this version of Bump and Grind, and then do their own. Back when people were a little less hung up on copyrights and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys hear the giant fucking storm is hitting Louisiana right now?
I heard about that.
Yeah, big fucking hurricane. It does not sound good. If you got blood in your semen, your problems are bigger than COVID. Oh no, I'm talking about just the skin friction of skin on skin, you're going to get micro tears and stuff that can exchange blood.
Especially if you're really going in.
Yeah, it's not that it's in your semen. It's that it's part, little bits of skin in the vagina and in the on the penis can get little tiny microscopic cuts. That's how AIDS gets transferred through intercourse.
Yeah, that's why gay men got it a lot worse. There's a lot more tearing involved when you're fucking an asshole.
Supposedly, I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about that.
Well, I mean, the various, if you're putting it in like the holes that you're supposed to put it in, like there's always bodily fluids coming out there. Asshole doesn't really have that. That's why you always got to use lube.
Yeah, true. I knew a chick who didn't get lubed up. Like she needed like lube. She just had no natural lubrication.
Ah.
And I found this out as she was telling me about her boyfriend, who would just start going, and then eventually she would bleed a little bit, and then that would make it a little less, like a little more lubricated. And she wasn't sure if that was normal or not. And I was like, no, that's fucking awful. Like any person who's not willing to use lubricant. Oh, that was vaginally.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that guy is an asshole.
Oh yeah, I know the guy is an asshole. Yeah, that's what I was telling her. I was like, no, any normal dude would be like, no, let's get lubricant. My God, why would you let him do that?
That is so cringy. No, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
That was all I was going to say. I wasn't carrying on with it.
Okay, I'm good.
Dude, it's not even like it's not even pleasant for a dude sticking your cock in a fucking dry pussy. You know what I mean?
Imagine, like, yeah. I don't. I wasn't there. I was not involved. It would not gone down the same way had I been. So I would never have. Oh God, no. She was just like way too naive for her age. She was like, it would have been like trying to date a child. Yeah. The ex must love rug burn. Oh man. No, I met some wacky fucking people.
Yeah,
when I was
that
still
dude literally fucking. Oh, sorry.
No, that
Go
was
ahead, man.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, did that dude grow up like fucking his carpet or something?
Yeah, I don't fucking know.
I can imagine a situation where he's like, "Oh yeah, no, this is normal. Man. This is fine."
Wasn't there a joke about some dude who masturbated with sandpaper or some crazy shit?
Gross.
And it's like he's the guy that the joke was based on, I'm guessing.
This is about as creepy as those weird sicko guys that just hump cars.
Oh, that's fucking weird. Yeah, I guess people fuck anything. There's somebody out there that'll fuck whatever. His name is Chris Chan, and stay the fuck away from that creepy bastard.
There's crazies everywhere.
No, it's all Chris Chan. It's all stories about that one fucking freak.
Yeah. All that shit. It always goes back to Chris Chan.
Wasn't there a book about like how to pee in public? I vaguely the internet was talking about it. It's like starting up a conversation about like how fascinating a car is or something when really you're just peeing right underneath it. You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that. I've never looked up how to pee in public. I have peed in public many times and gotten away with it because I used to drink a lot, but like one time I was peeing behind a gas station and I was walking away and zipping up as the cop car came around the back to look to see if they could catch me peeing. Barely got away with that one. I was at the beach one time and I'd walked over like we were kind of on one side of a very, very shallow hill, and I'd walked down the other side of the hill just barely and was just like peeing in the middle of the beach because it was late and I was fucking hammered. And turned and looked back, and the fucking park ranger was just hanging out, waiting, talking with the other people. I walked back and had a conversation with the guy before he left. You know, we were fine. Nobody got any tickets, or he didn't seem to notice or care. He just told us not to camp there, which we, of course, did anyway.
God damn.
You know, one of the girls we were with looked like she was a 12-year-old. Like, she was like 23 at the time, but she definitely did not look 23. And I always wondered, like, that he didn't even bother to, like, fucking ID her. Because the rest of us definitely looked like we were in our 20s. So it was like 3 20-something looking dudes and a 12-year-old looking girl.
Noob, I know about Boku no Pico. No, I've never watched it. I know about it.
No fucking Boku no Pico. That shit is just child molestation porn. That's fucking gross.
It's... I can't say, because I don't know. I know it's bad.
I've heard enough reviews from people I trust to be honest about it. It's definitely just child molestation porn. Where, like, the kids want it. Yeah. There's a fucking Canadian guy that does a lot of anime reviews that I like watching, and he talked about it, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's just not.
Yeah. Well, there's, like, a YouTuber who was, I think his name was Noble, or Lost Pause was the name of his channel, and his fucking chat just kept trolling him to watch Boku no Pico. And to the point where he finally did it. I think he said he couldn't finish it because it was that creepy.
I can't imagine. Yeah, if you're not into that kind of stuff, that would be real fucking hard to watch, man.
It was the kind of thing where like okay, you get popular, you get like a million followers, and everyone's just harassing you. It's like, hey, how much to get you to watch it? How much to do that? It's like, okay, fine. And then what made it worse is like, hey, how much to make you cosplay as the main character? It's like, must I? Yeah, it got worse. I think
that's when you gotta be like, look, there is no amount for that. That's just not gonna happen. It's tasteless and not fucking okay.
I think they hit some kind of amount. Like the fans troll them so much. It's like, come on, guys, don't do it. Don't do it. They did it.
Honestly, I think that's one of those things where you just stop responding. Like, just don't respond to Boku no Pico stuff at all.
Right. Well, I don't think he figured that part out because he did it. He wasn't happy about it. And then they fucking take pictures. And they fucking troll them with it. It's like, God damn it.
Exactly. It's not going to end well. Nothing is going to go well for you after you fucking cosplay the weird, creepy child molestation Japanese anime. You know?
Yep. Don't do it, man.
My brother gets a real kick out of cosplaying the dad in that Alchemist one.
Full Metal Alchemist?
In Full Metal Alchemist, the dad who turns his daughter into a dog-daughter hybrid character.
Fucking Christ.
He loves cosplaying that, and he's got a mug that says, like, my daughter has paws. He got to go with it. And that's great. People will appreciate the troll, right? But, like, I just cannot see people being like, oh, Boku no Pico, ha ha ha, that's really clever. Like,
yes, I was shocked.
Like, that's not the same thing at all. Like, everybody hates that character, but they recognize, like, that's just a really good character in a show. You know, no one's going to come up and just, like, punch you in the mouth for doing that. You know,
like that fucking meme will just never die because it's just.
God, I can't believe that dude agreed to dress up like a fictional child molester. Like,
yeah. I hope it was worth the money, buddy.
That's so fucking.
Well,
I'm having trouble with that. I'm sorry.
To be fair, to be fair, like there was a good couple years there where they're like one of the number one cosplays or at least memes going around was Pedo Bear.
Yeah, that's still not the same because Pedo Bear was sort of like
It was like a joke.
a tongue in
Was
cheek, like we fucking got you, like we
yeah,
get what that kind of thing.
like
Oh
the
man,
person in the bear suit is probably someone fully twisted.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least with the bear, okay. At least with the bear, your actual face isn't showing at all.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Have you seen Pigeon Blood? No, I've never heard of that.
I mean, I've seen the actual blood of pigeons, but if you're talking about a show, no.
I knew a guy who made an indie comic called Pigeon Soup. So, I mean, it's the most I know.
Pigeon Soup. That sounds really familiar. Was it an internet comic at any point?
Yes.
Oh, because I read a lot of internet comics for a while.
Yeah, he did like an internet comic and then raised some money and then they did a small print run. He was at conventions every now and then, so I saw him.
I don't think I ever bought it, but I definitely
probably
read some of it online. I may not have read all of it, but
Well, I think I don't think they bother printing it out on websites because I mean, why do that when you just read the comic online? Some people do fairly well for themselves.
If I saw it, it was definitely the online stuff. I never bought like the limited run. But I remember like there was a lot of like webcomics for a while, like Something Positive and Least I Could Do, and then there was like Punch and Pie, and there was Queen of Wands.
I never really read webcomics, so they're not really my
theater. There was a fuck ton of them out there for a while. It was a really popular thing for like 5 years. And a bunch of the really good ones, like the people started making a living off of it. I don't know if they still do it or not because I stopped reading all of them. But
well, and it's really really hard to get up there because a lot of the stuff that gets really popular is like I think Korean books, and a lot of
things tend to go in fads too. So it's not surprising that a bunch of people would just stop being interested.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's webcomics. I mean, if it's not popular now, then something else will be coming in. So you have to be flexible with your comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they still have, at least a small core audience compared to what they used to. Like the really big ones might still make money.
There's a mass exodus going on from the mainstream comic industry right now. Like, there's this one.
If that'll make a comeback then.
It might, because from what I can tell, a lot of the head writers at DC have gone to this place called Substack, which I think is like a blog, something or other. So that's where a lot of the writers gone, and a lot of the artists apparently they've gone to Webtoons. They're making their own comics on there.
Makes sense. I mean, if you're just not worth working for the webcomic industry or the actual comic book industry, and it seems like the actual comic book industry is just bound and determined to fucking destroy their own business.
Well, and a lot of the artists that were there, they seem like they came from like web comics, so they should probably just let them be there.
Yeah.
Oh dear God!
Says Pigeon Blood is a gross hentai where the female lead gets a pussy for a face. At a few episodes in, it's another thing you can use to troll people. Oh my God. That's fucking horrific. I'm not. A lot of times people will talk about like some fucked up stuff, and I'll be like, "Oh, I gotta go see it for myself." But like, I'm gonna say Boku no Pico, nope, and Pigeon Blood, abso-fucking-lutely not. Like, I don't need to see a hentai where the woman's face becomes a vagina. Oh, that's so fucking weird.
Well, I guess that's one case where face fucking would be a little more acceptable.
Yeah, that is one of those things that I find very odd that became so mainstream. Like
fucking porn.
So suddenly like high school kids are like, oh no, it's totally normal to just fuck your girlfriend in the mouth like really hard. Deprive her of oxygen for like as long as you can before she taps out. It's not an extremely fucking aggressive and not. It just seems kind of not okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up, man. Jesus.
Well, some of the shit you see on porn, it's like, God damn, that does not look comfortable at all. Like, with the face fucking, like, every once in a while, they'll just puke. You're like...
No.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've gone down a conversation channel that we should probably never go down again, and we should probably call it a fucking night.
we have been going at it for a bit.
Yeah, I think it's time to stop.
we covered like the dark society that we're going into, to anime, to comics, and now we're talking about fucking cringe-worthy pornography. I think
it's probably time to stop.
I don't think the surprising.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say we never talk about how fucked up Biden is, dude. But I guess it's already kind of been said and out there.
We've all said it many, many times at this point. It's kind of like a broken record.
Well, I guess talking about the specific shit lately, I guess. But,
well, like
I mean, the man is barely holding it together. Yeah, I feel bad for him.
Nobody's surprised. Yeah, nobody's surprised for him being a shitty president, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I think he's a shitty president. It was all done on purpose. The election was rigged, and he was, he's doing exactly what he's told to do, which is, be as incompetent as possible.
Well, even the Democrats are talking about mentally declaring him mentally unfit and having like the vice president take over.
I mean,
not like the Democrat politicians, but like just Democrat people.
Well, okay. Yeah. I'm still confused about this because I know Kamala, like she has a bit of a Canadian background. So would that allow her to be president? Because I don't think it could.
If she doesn't fit the qualification for president, no, she cannot be president. I don't know if she does or not.
See, and that's it. Like I thought,
she has to be a natural-born American citizen and over the age of 35.
Like, I'm pretty sure she was, like, born in Montreal, and she went to school there. So, like, doesn't that technically qualify her as a Canadian? I
don't know.
Yeah. So, like, I think,
both of her parents American citizens?
They may have been.
If both her parents were American citizens and she was born abroad, I do think that might be allowed. I'm not positive, but it sounds like it's something that might be able to be like acceptable.
Because that's the one thing I don't know anything about. Like I don't know what the qualifications in there would be. I don't know her history, but I do know she has a deep Canadian history. So that's
it's one of those things that like the Republicans will probably try to use to try to get her removed as well.
Well, and the thing is, like even if she can't be president, the next person that could be president is the Speaker of the House. That'd be Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
And that's not any better. In fact, that's possibly worse.
There's no benefit for anybody in the real world if Biden gets removed. It only fucks the country up more and more as you go further and further down the line.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just terrible.
Well, and it's such a mess because you also look at like the last election, and there's pretty much clear evidence of election tampering. And like the Maricopa County one pretty much confirmed that. Like the mail-in voting, they got like 3 times the amount of votes back that were actually sent out, and they were able to do the paper test and the signature verification, and yet like they're photocopied. It's not the correct paper, and the signatures are identical to other signatures.
Yeah,
which means that it's not real. So
the only thing like in Detroit State, Arizona.
Maricopa County is in Arizona.
I was gonna say a good portion of the ballots went to vacant lots.
Yeah. So that was the other thing.
Went to vacant lots, and you could literally drive around checking addresses yourself, and just drive from vacant lot to vacant lot for like half the fucking ballots. It's crazy.
Well, and like in Crowder, he did that for a video, and his channel got struck because of it. So he almost lost his entire channel because of that. It's like dude,
because they were putting up honest, straightforward information that was undeniable evidence.
Exactly, and so that was another factor. So, and the other thing that they can't get verification was the electronic voting, because they had the machines, and when they did the machines there, they had with Dominion voting, and there were some problems with that as well, because they're easily hackable. They can easily be manipulated, and some of them they claim that they were. But in order to get that information, you need to get the password to get into the servers. To actually,
weren't there like a fuck ton of people who were like, I pressed Trump and it registered me as voting Biden?
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of that went on, and so in order to get any of that information, they have to go into the machines, but they need the password to get in there.
And the company is based in Canada, so they can't just go fucking take it.
I think they sued and petitioned the courts, and the courts agreed that they must give out the information, but because it's a Canadian company, they don't have to.
There's no way to enforce it. It's they do have to. There's just no penalty if they don't.
Well, I mean, it's a Canadian
thing.
So
there's no way to enforce the decision.
Exactly.
What it ends up coming out to.
And maybe Trudeau can pressure them, but he ain't going to pressure them because...
if we're lucky, Trudeau won't make it through this next election, but I sincerely doubt that's going to be a real election anyway, because it's probably going to use Dominion machines. There's going to be ballot harvesting.
Yeah,
I can just about guarantee it's going to go the same exact way as the presidential one in 2020.
Best case scenario, I think the Conservatives are going to win. But what's more likely going to happen is he's going to get another minority government. I don't think. I think this is a terrible thing that the leading party has or the prime minister has the ability to call a snap election in a minority government setting. I think that's horrible abuse of power. I don't think that they should have that. But it's not
the prime minister shouldn't be the one who gets to decide when he's elected.
Yeah,
it should just be a standard day every X number of years that you elect a new person to that position or elect the person to keep the position. It shouldn't be something that gets to be determined by the guy who holds it. That's fucking ridiculous.
Exactly, but it's not unusual. Like the prime ministers do this all the time. Like our last administration was Stephen Harper, and he was the leader of the Conservatives. And during his second run, he had a minority government. He did the same thing, but the results didn't lean in his favor. It pretty much ended up being the exact same thing. So he just wasted everyone's time with that election. And so Justin Trudeau, he's wasting everyone's time with this election. But it's entirely possible that, because you also have to remember the very day he announced it was the day the Afghanistan situation was going on. And because of that, the government got dissolved, so we can do this election nonsense. And we're not really able to form a proper response to the whole Afghanistan thing. Like, we can't send our planes out to go and help them. So
because that's the next wave of refugees they're trying to push on everybody.
And that could very well be...
They should not be coming to the United States and Canada at all. Under the refugee laws, they should not be anywhere close to us.
Exactly. So, but yeah, he can't send any real help because we're doing an election right now. And so that didn't make him look very good. It's like, you fucking idiot. Like, you could say, oh, here's a country that needs help. Oh, we're busy doing an election. Like, dude, your timing was awful. Just awful. But that's Trudeau in a nutshell. Timing is terrible. So, yeah.
All right. Well, before we get too caught up, we are going a little bit over. So it's probably time to call it an evening.
Right.
It was awesome that we actually had people show up. We appreciate that.
I was surprised there wasn't. I'm surprised there wasn't like 20 minutes dedicated to food.
Yeah, we'll get it next time, dude.
But yeah,
for anybody who stuck around, we greatly appreciate it.